Live from the CSI Baseball Complex on the campus of the College of Staten Island, CSI Sportsnet presents exclusive CUNYAC Baseball Championship coverage. Today's first of three matchups features the Lions of Finlandia University taking on the Baruch College Bearcats. Good afternoon, everybody. This is Joe Foreman, joined by Bobby Drake. And Bobby, this game was delayed an hour, originally scheduled for a 12 p.m. start. The Lions taking on the Bearcats in the first of three games today. This game is a win or go home game for both of these teams. The Bearcats yesterday picked up a victory in their first game of the afternoon against the Beavers of CCNY, while Finlandia knocked off Lehman College in a game that was widely viewed as a big upset in this tournament. You're very familiar with how teams can upset one another in this tournament, and we've spoken about it many times this year. These CUNYAC matchups are often toss-ups that can go either way. Yeah,
you said it, Joe, and we're in for a long day of baseball ahead of us, so that hour delay certainly didn't help. But as you said, upsets tend to happen in this tournament, so it'll be interesting today for sure.
Well, it should be an interesting game. As I mentioned, Finlandia took on Lehman College yesterday. In that game, the Lions defeated the Lightning by a score of 4-3. Lehman was held to 3 hits by Finlandia in that game, and Lehman actually did score 2 runs in the bottom of the ninth inning to come to within a run of the Lions, but it wasn't enough as they ultimately fell by a single run. The final score, once again, 4-3. Finlandia got a complete game from Joey Krug on the mound. He went, of course, the full 9 innings, allowing only 3 base hits, 3 runs. 2 of those runs were earned. He walked 8 and struck out 7, so a big effort on the mound for Krug in that game for the Finlandia University Lions. And coming into today's action, I mentioned that the Baruch College Bearcats yesterday played an elimination game against the Beavers of CCNY. That was a game we covered here on CSI Sportsnet. In that game, Baruch put together 19 runs on 18 hits while allowing 7 runs on 13 hits, but Baruch nearly scored enough to win that game in the first inning. Baruch put together 6 runs in the first inning. I believe it was 2 or 3 errors in the field committed by CCNY, a couple of balls that were misplayed in the outfield, and all of that led to Anthony Cacchione putting together a very short-lived outing. Of course, he surrendered 6 runs in the first inning. Ultimately, he lasted 2 2/3 for CCNY, allowing 6 hits and 8 runs. 5 of those runs were earned. However, a couple of misplays that turned into base hits inflated that earned run total. So for Cacchione, not his best outing of the season for sure. And for the Bearcats, Paul Sierakowski gave them 7 innings, allowing 12 base hits and 7 earned runs. But Sierakowski gave them some length that they needed in order to preserve some of their pitching depth moving forward. And we've spoken about it before, Bobby. Dave and I talked about it yesterday as well. Pitching depth, very important in this tournament moving forward.
Yeah, pitching depth certainly is important. And as you said in that prior note, errors can be costly, and especially in a tournament like this with a ton of errors yesterday. So hopefully today teams will clean it up a little bit. But certainly mistakes in the field will come back to bite you.
Well, I mentioned the big offensive numbers put up by Baruch in that game yesterday against CCNY, and Baruch is a team that comes in hitting at .276 on the season, while opponents are hitting .322 against them. The Bearcats have a team ERA up over 6, so the Bearcats a team that doesn't really light it up either at the plate or on the mound. Very pedestrian numbers batting and pitching, but yesterday it was more than enough to defeat CCNY, a game that I mentioned. The Bearcats scored 19 runs, and they'll be looking for more of the same at the plate today against the Finlandia team that comes in and really struggling at the plate this season, to say the least. The Lions come in with a team batting average of .216, but they showed yesterday that if they get it done on the mound, they can certainly pull off an upset in this tournament. They've already upset the Lehman College Lightning, and we'll look to do that once again here today to the Baruch College Bearcats. As I mentioned, the .216 team batting average for the Lions. Opponents hitting at .309 against Finlandia University, and they've pitched to an 8.51 ERA, while opponents have pitched to a 2.74 ERA against them. And, of course, something needed to change for the Lions entering this CUNYAC tournament. They needed to improve those numbers and have taken a step toward hopefully advancing in this tournament, of course, with a win yesterday, and look to keep their season alive today.
Yeah, Joe, you said it. Offensively, not good numbers at all, but hey, this is a tournament, and anything can happen.
And the starting pitcher in this game for the Baruch College Bearcats will be Daniel Malik. We actually saw Malik yesterday. I'll have to take a moment to pull up his numbers from that outing yesterday against the College of Staten Island, but I do have his season numbers in front of me here, as he's appeared in 8 games, has not made a start so far this season. Malik has pitched to a 3.95 ERA, a record of 1-0, and has only thrown 13 2/3 innings, but has allowed 17 hits, 7 runs, 6 of those earned. He has walked 3 and struck out 14 as we just received some troubling news as Dave Pizzuto passes along a note to us that only one umpire is here. I actually went and spoke with someone from CUNY and asked about the umpires being on the premises. I was told that they were, and apparently one of them is, and the second is not. I'm not sure if we can continue play with only one umpire. We'll see what the two teams decide and if that's an option at this point, but I'll get Daniel Malik's numbers from yesterday's outing against the Dolphins in just a moment. We'll step aside after that, but I do want to get those numbers from Malik, but we're on the topic of Baruch starting pitcher in this game. But Bobby, what's transpired here today is really unbelievable. Softball got started an hour ahead of us already as the original schedule stood. Softball took the field at 11 o'clock. Their first game is already over, and here at baseball, it's nearly 1 o'clock, and we haven't begun our first game of the day. We have 3 games, 3 9-inning games to cover for you here today on CSI Sportsnet, so I think it's safe to say it's going to be a late night.
Yeah, this is certainly going to be a late night. It'll be a long day of baseball, and regardless, even if it's a regular season, with the umpire situation, that's a little questionable, but this is definitely not the time for that to happen in the CUNY Championship, so hopefully they'll get here and we'll get this thing going.
Absolutely not, and I did mention that Daniel Malik pitched against the Dolphins last night in the Bearcats game against CSI. He only threw 1 inning in that game, allowing a couple of base hits, a pair of runs. One of those 2 runs were earned, and he walked a batter as well. He only faced 6 total batters in that 1 inning, so a rough inning of work for Malik last night. He heads back to the mound today, getting the start for the Bearcats of Baruch College. So with questions surrounding the start time of this game, it looks like we'll be stepping aside and taking perhaps an extended break here on CSI Sportsnet, awaiting the start of Game 1 of today's CUNYAC Championship Baseball slate. The Lions and the Bearcats set for first pitch hopefully at 1 p.m., though that is not a certainty. We will rejoin you with information regarding the first pitch of this game when we have it. Be sure to stay with us here on CSI Sportsnet, exclusively on CSIDolphins.com.
Alvin and the Chipmunks want to remind you, bacteria can hide in food and make you ill.
Wow.
But you can keep bacteria from ruining your day with 4 simple steps. Clean.
I'm waiting for the rinse cycle.
Separate. Cook.
Fire in the hole!
And chill.
We chipmunks are notoriously tidy.
Check your steps. The road trip to food safety starts at foodsafety.gov.
So they say it's a man's world? I don't see anybody's name on it.
While they were doing their thing, we slowly changed ours.
Today, women can do anything men can do. And there's one thing we're even better at.
Of all the things you've done with your bike, donating it to Goodwill may be the most incredible of all. Your donations help fund job placement and training for people in your community, which means your stuff can be more powerful than you think. Goodwill. Donate stuff, create jobs.
Hart, what's going on?
I'm leaving.
Why? What did I do?
Not enough. You constantly ignore me. You barely eat anything healthy. You're half as active as you used to be. The pressure is just too much. I quit.
Okay, I get it. I'll do better. Just please, don't leave.
Okay. But remember, if I go, you go.
Listen to your heart. Don't let it quit on you. Uncontrolled high blood pressure could lead to stroke, heart attack, or death. Get yours to a healthy range.
One-on-One is an independently owned and operated physical therapy center since 1999.
One-on-One has multiple offices located in Staten Island and in Brooklyn.
One-on-One has been getting people back to living pain-free for almost 14 years.
The number one goal of One-on-One is to provide quality health care for our community and continue to strive to be the best in our field.
One-on-One physical therapy gets our clients back to work, back to play, and back to function as soon as possible. We help them reclaim their life.
Don't worry, 74 people were picked before me in the NFL draft.
To fight childhood obesity, United Way and the NFL are helping kids play at least 60 minutes a day.
Okay, time for the team obstacle course. Yay!
What this place needs is more healthy kids. To get involved or donate, go to unitedway.org/play60.
Now I get it.
This is the story of a boy who is very sensitive to lights and sounds. So he built secret hiding places where nothing could get in. The boy didn't like looking people in the eye. It made him feel uncomfortable. One day, he found out he had something called autism. His family got him help, and slowly, he learned how to live with it better.
Early intervention can make a lifetime of difference. Learn the signs at autismspeaks.org.
No one ever won a race because it was their turn. And guzzling the right sports drink never won all 3 sets. You can't talk your way through a tournament, and luck doesn't last. Real champions know that it takes more to do more, because wanting it just isn't good enough. You've got to be smarter, faster, tougher. After all, if championships were easy, everybody would have one. City University of New York Athletic Conference. Learn, play, succeed.
Morning, Gary. We are GetSchooled.com. You want a college education, don't you? You know you do. That's why we're here. We're free and here to guide you through every step of the way, starting with attendance. Gary, financial aid forms. Picking a college, man. You and us. Go together like tacos and Tuesday.
And I love tacos.
Go to GetSchooled.com.
Morning, Gary. We are GetSchooled.com. You want a college education, don't you? You know you do. That's why we're here. We're free and here to guide you through every step of the way, starting with attendance. Gary, financial aid forms. Picking a college, man. You and us. Go together like tacos and Tuesday.
And I love tacos.
Go to GetSchooled.com.
Morning, Gary. We are GetSchooled.com. You want a college education, don't you? You know you do. That's why we're here. We're free and here to guide you through every step of the way.
And we're back here from the CSI Baseball Complex, and it looks like we are going to get underway at 1 p.m. as I do see a second umpire on the field, so it appears as if umpire number 2 has arrived. Of course, this game was originally scheduled for 12 p.m., then scheduled for 1 p.m., and there was questions surrounding the 1 p.m. start after we found that only one umpire was here at the CSI Baseball Complex, but it does appear as if the second umpire has arrived and has taken the field. So we do have the starting lineup for the visiting team in this game. I should say the visiting team in this game. That was correct. The lines of Finlandia University. Leading off is the second baseman, number 12, Brian Doyle. Batting behind him is the first baseman, number 10, Nick Geiser. Batting third, designated hitter, number 11, Joey Krug. In the cleanup spot is the third baseman, number 22, Devontae Fleming. Batting fifth, the shortstop, number 3, Gene Pimentel. Batting sixth and catching is number 5, Ben Loya. Batting seventh is the left fielder, number 20, Daniel Logan. Batting eighth is the center fielder, number 7, Josh Gregory. And rounding out the batting order for the Lions is the right fielder, number 28, Austin Donahue. And I did hear the starting pitcher for Baruch have his name pronounced as Daniel Malik, so I would assume they got pronunciations down the hall, and I will go with Malik from this point forward. I mentioned the numbers for Malik last night against the Dolphins. 1 inning pitched, allowed a couple of base hits, 2 runs, one of those 2 runs earned. Walked a batter. Again, only worked 1 inning, faced 6 batters in that inning. And once again, the numbers for Malik on the season. He's appeared in 8 games, all in relief. He's pitched to a 3.95 ERA, has 1 victory in his only decision. In 13 2/3 innings pitched, he's allowed 17 base hits, 7 runs, 6 of those runs earned. He has walked 3 and struck out 14, allowing 4 extra base hits, including 3 doubles and a triple in 56 at-bats, opponents hitting at .304 against him. This is the first time this season that we have seen Baruch in their Columbia blue uniforms with navy numbers. They've actually worn a black and gray military camo style uniform in the 3 games we've seen them play here at the CSI Baseball Complex this year. Finlandia wearing gray uniforms with blue numbers.
So it looks like we're finally ready to get set. Start this long day, Joe.
A long day indeed, Bobby, and that's without a doubt. Of course, we're getting off to a start of about an hour late now, as first pitch is upcoming within the next couple of minutes. But again, we were scheduled to begin here at 12 p.m. The umpires did not arrive on time, or at least one umpire didn't arrive on time, but from what I heard, it was both. And it looks like we will have a 12:58 first pitch between the Bearcats and the Lions. The loser of this game goes home. Both of these teams battle to keep their season alive. Brian Doyle lead things off for the Lions. And he takes inside for ball one. Here comes the 1-0 pitch. And that also misses inside for ball two. Doyle enters today's action with a .257 batting average on the season in 70 plate appearances. Has an on-base percentage of just over .370. I think he got a piece of that one and chops it foul.
So a little bit of a strange delivery for Daniel Malik on the mound for the Bearcats.
Dave and I noted that last night. Looks to be a pure sidearm delivery. Not many players on this Finlandia roster with a batting average over 300. I count only one. And that's among qualifiers anyway. Same goes for on-base percentage as the 2-1 pitch misses outside and the count runs to 3-1.
And as you said, Joe, it is tough to succeed in a tournament like with those numbers, but here they are. They advanced it today, so they look to snatch another one.
They pulled off the upset of Lehman College yesterday, then fell to John Jay as Malik issues a leadoff walk to Brian Doyle, and the Lions have a leadoff base runner.
The first baseman, number 10, Nick Geyser.
That will bring up Nick Geyser. Geyser enters play hitting at an even 200. Mentioned not many players batting over 300, only one, that being Joey Krug. Only 3 players on this Lions roster have an on-base percentage over 300. Once again, among qualifying players, that is, as Geyser lays down a bunt. Malik fields it cleanly just in front of the mound and throws out Geyser at first, so the sacrifice is successful.
So a good job there by Geyser just getting the bunt down.
Number 11, Joey Krug.
That will bring up Joey Krug, and he is the one man on this roster hitting over 300, comes in with a .313 batting average. Though the man standing on second base, Brian Doyle, leads the team in on-base percentage at .373. Krug is slugging at .446. That leads the team by a wide margin, and he takes down and away for ball one. An early runner in scoring position for Finlandia. 1-0 the count on Krug. And the pitch is rolled over to short. And Capion's throw over to first in time to retire Krug for the second out.
So a good job there from Daniel Malik.
The third baseman.
As if you're Finlandia, that's the guy you want up with the runner in scoring position. But regardless, 2 away here in the top half of the first.
That will bring up Devontae Fleming. Fleming hitting at .161 on the season. That was on base percentage about 100 points over that at .266. And looking at the batting averages, it's hard to imagine how this Lions team has been able to manufacture runs this season. So I've turned to on base percentage to try and answer that question. And again, not many players who get on base either.
Yeah, Joe, in the cleanup spot too, batting .161.
That misses down and away, evening the count at 1. Malik comes set, takes a look over at third. Here's the 1-1 pitch. That misses up and in for ball 2. So
a big run over there at third for Finlandia It's always good to get that first run on the board, especially in the first inning.
The Lions put themselves in a good spot. They had their big bat, Joey Krug, at the plate with a runner in scoring position, but he grounded out to short. And that called strike evens the count at 2.
And I think Fleming thought that was a little bit off. So we'll see if the umpire continues with that call, as these hitters will have to make adjustments.
Here comes the 2-2 pitch, and that misses up and in. Count is full. Here comes the payoff pitch. That's rolled over on the ground to first toward the hole. Making the sliding stop is McGroarty, and his throw is in time.
Yeah, it's a beautiful play there from McGroarty.
A nice play by Michael McGroarty over at second base. Denies the Lions the first run of the game. Finlandia strands a runner over at third, and Daniel Malik escapes trouble in inning number 1. No score heading into the bottom half of the first on this CUNYAC championship weekend. We'll be right back with more CUNYAC baseball after this break.
Oh, listen now, can you hear the bluebirds? Oh, look up now, can you feel the sun?
No one ever won a race because it was their turn. And guzzling the right sports drink never won all 3 sets. You can't talk your way through a tournament, and luck doesn't last. Real champions know that it takes more to do more, because wanting it just isn't good enough. You've got to be smarter, faster, tougher. After all, if championships were easy, everybody would have one. City University of New York Athletic Conference. Learn, play, succeed.
Leading off, and we're back here from the Seaside Baseball Complex. Bottom half of the first inning about to get underway. Brandon Teichman takes the mound for the Lions for the first time this afternoon, and the lineup for Baruch College that he will face is as follows very quickly. Leading off is the catcher, number 23, Donovan Hunt. Batting second, the second baseman, Michael McGroarty. He wears number 2. In the 3 spot is the designated hitter, number 32, J.P. Ramirez. Batting cleanup is the first baseman, Gerardo Rocky. Batting 5th and playing left field is number 26, Liam O'Gara. Batting 6th and playing right field is number 3, Edwin St. Hilaire. Batting 7th and playing shortstop is David Capion. He wears number 8. Batting 8th and playing third base is Jorge Keith Mercado, wearing number 9. And batting 9th, playing center field, number 7, Elvis Klein. Donovan Hunt leads things off for the Baruch College Bearcats. He's ahead in the count 2-1.
And we've seen what Hunt can do with the bat, Joe. Last time they played here versus CSI.
And he takes down and away for ball 3, so the count runs to 3-1. Here comes the 3-1 pitch. That's just off the inside corner for ball 4. So Donovan Hunt is on with a leadoff walk. And the Bearcats have their first base runner of the game. That will bring up Michael McGroarty. McGroarty, the leading hitter for this Baruch College team, comes in hitting at .412. We saw what this Baruch offense is capable of yesterday. As that's it on the ground over to third. Throw to second for one. Relay on to first in time for the double play. A nicely executed 5-4-3 double play by the Lions, and quickly there are 2 away in the bottom of the first.
You said it, Joe. A very well executed double play. And a quick 2 outs here for Finlandia.
Leadoff base runner Hunt quickly erased on the 5-4-3 double play, and that leaves the bases empty for J.P. Ramirez. Ramirez hitting at .317 entering today's action. Got a start in Game 2 that the Bearcats played last night against the Dolphins. Struggled with his command in that game. Didn't pitch much this season before that start last night as he lost one into shallow right field. And that one drops fair in front of Austin Donahue. For a moment there, Ramirez took a turn towards second, but he retreats back to first base safely. And it's a 2-out single for J.P. Ramirez.
Yeah, and Ramirez couldn't have thrown that ball in a better place, so he'll take it. It'll be a long drive in the books. And there's 1 on with 2 away here.
Down the hall, they're pronouncing Gerardo's name as Gerardo Roque, so I guess I'll go with that moving forward. We try and Google some of these pronunciations that we are unsure of, but we don't often get pronunciation guides, so we'll go with Roque for the rest of the afternoon. This may not be the last time we see this Bearcats team, so definitely should try and get it right if we can. Count on Roque 0-1, and takes a big swing and a miss at the 0-1 pitch and falls into a 2-strike hole. Ramirez, the runner over at first. Comes the 0-2 from Teichman, and that's swung on and missed as Brandon Teichman picks up his first strikeout of the game. Bearcats strand a runner over at first in the bottom half of inning number 1. Pick up a base. It also drew a walk in the inning, but do not score, and there is no score through 1 inning of play here at the Seaside Baseball Complex. More CUNYAC Championship Weekend Baseball when we come back.
One-on-One is an independently owned and operated physical therapy center since 1999.
One-on-One has multiple offices located in Staten Island and in Brooklyn.
One-on-One has been getting people back to living pain-free for almost 14 years.
The number 1 goal of One-on-One is to provide quality health care.
Morning, Gary. We are GetSchooled.com. You want a college education, don't you? You know you do. That's why we're here. We're free and here to guide you through every step of the way, starting with attendance. Gary, financial aid forms. Picking a college, man. You and us. We go together like tacos and Tuesday.
And I love tacos. Go to GetSchooled.com.
Morning, Gary. We are GetSchooled.com. You want a college education, don't you? You know you do. That's why we're here. We're free and here to guide you through every step of the way, starting with attendance. Gary, financial aid forms. Picking a college, man. You and us. We go together like tacos and Tuesday.
And I love tacos. Go to GetSchooled.com.
And we are back. No score at the CSI Baseball Complex through 1 inning of play between the Lions and the Bearcats of Baruch College. Apparently our scoreboard reads with the numbers from the 9th inning of our last game that we covered last night. So we'll get that sorted out in between innings. For now, we'll be moving forward without a scoreboard. 5, 6, and 7 due up for the Lions in their half of the 2nd inning. Gene Pimentel will be the batter. He's behind in the count 0-1 here. Comes in hitting at .226 on the season in 62 plate appearances. Here comes the 1-1 pitch. And that's in for a called strike 2. Only one Lions player with over 70 plate appearances. That's Joey Krug. And that's an ugly swing and a miss for strike 3, as Pimentel did get a piece of that ball, but secured behind the plate by Donovan Hunt for the first out.
Yeah, that's a well-spotted off-speed pitch from Daniel Malik there.
The catcher, number 5, Ben Loya.
That will bring up Ben Loya. Loya comes in a 197 hitter. Several exceptionally low batting averages in this Lions lineup. I mentioned they're barely hitting over 200 as a team. 0-1 the count on Loya, and he looks at a pitch down and away in the dirt for ball 1. Here comes the 1-1 pitch. That's it on the ground over to short, fielded cleanly by Capion. And the sidearm throw over to first in time for out number 2.
So quickly 2 away here for Daniel Malik. And Joe, I think he'll look to use his off speed a lot here today.
We saw the impact of keeping hitters off balance last night. Christian Capion did a great job of that for the Dolphins in his start. So hitters lunging at those breaking balls, and Malik will look to do the same, as that's chopped on the ground and through the left side for a base hit. That's Daniel Logan, who picks up the 2-out single. First hit of the game for the Lions, and they have a 2-out base runner in the top of the second.
And of course, not hit necessarily hard, but ultimately reaching that outfield grass, and they'll take it.
That will bring up Josh Gregory. Another hitter with a sub-200 batting average. Gregory comes in hitting at 190 on the season. And the first pitch from Malik is in for a called strike.
And I think if Finlandia wants to manufacture runs here today, Joe, they're going to look to take extra bags, base on balls, take advantage of errors, etc.
That swung on and missed. Well, we saw them look to utilize small ball right off the start in this game. Brian Doyle reached on a leadoff walk, and then right behind him, Nick Geiser laid down a sacrifice bunt. He did so successfully, as that misses down and away. But I think you're absolutely right, Bobby, as the Lions certainly will look to employ some small ball. So the Bearcats slug it out with the Beavers yesterday. Of course, Baruch got the best of that matchup, scoring 19 runs. We said it during yesterday's broadcast. We were certain the Beavers would have signed up for 7 runs of their own, but it wasn't nearly enough to keep their season alive, as with that loss at the hands of Baruch, the Beavers were sent home. 2 balls and 2 strikes the count on Gregory, and he takes inside for ball 3.
That's a good pitch there from Malik, just missing that inside corner.
Logan will get a head start over at first base. Here comes the payoff pitch. And that's chopped on the ground toward the middle of the diamond. Capion will throw over to first, and his throw is in time for the final out. A base hit in the inning for the Lions, but nothing more. They strand a runner. Our score heading into the bottom half of the second, 0-0. Bearcats come to bat when we come back.
Alvin and the Chipmunks want to remind you, bacteria can hide in food and make you ill.
Wow.
But you can keep bacteria from ruining your day with 4 simple steps. Clean.
I'm waiting for the ring cycle.
Separate. Cook.
Fire in the hole!
And chill.
We chipmunks are notoriously tidy.
Check your steps. The road trip to food safety starts at foodsafety.gov.
So they say it's a man's world? I don't see anybody's name on it.
While they were doing their thing, we slowly changed ours.
Today, women can do anything men can do. And there's one thing we're even better at.
your bike, donating it to Goodwill may be the most incredible of all. Your donations help fund job placement and training for people in your community, which means your stuff can be more powerful than you think. Goodwill. Donate stuff, create jobs.
Hart, what's going on? I'm leaving. Why? What did I do? Not enough. You constantly ignore me. You barely eat anything healthy. You're half as active as you used to be. The pressure is just too much. I quit. Okay, I get it. I'll do better.
And we're back from the CSI Baseball Complex as Liam O'Gara steps into the box to lead things off for Baruch College in the bottom half of the second. Comes the 0-1 from Teichman. That's it slowly on the ground towards second. And Doyle's throw offline, and it brings Geyser off the first base bag. Reaching safely on the throwing error is Liam O'Gara.
Yeah, Joe, and you saw that coming a little bit as Doyle stayed back a little bit too much. And even with a good throw, it would have been close. So just easier to come get that ball.
I think you're right, Bobby, as Edwin St. Hilaire will be the batter. St. Hilaire enters today's action at .274 hitter. Leads this Bearcats team with 33 runs batted in. Comes the 0-1 pitch. That's fouled back. We were working on the scoreboard in between innings and simply would not respond when we clicked on the necessary pathway to access our link up with live stats. So we'll keep working on that. Hopefully we can sort it out between the second and third innings. That's hit sharply on the ground to second. The umpire dances out of the way. And the only play for Doyle is to first, as he bobbled that ball for just a moment, but his throw is in time to retire St. Hilaire for the first out.
Yeah, and a nice recovery there from Doyle, just staying with that ball. And his only play was at first, so.
The shortstop, number 8, David Cavion.
Nice job by the umpire getting out of the way as well, as he was forced to skip out of the way of that ball. Ball was hit hard. David Capion will be the batter. Big day for Capion yesterday. And he takes a called strike one. Had a 4-hit game against the Beavers, reached base 5 times. Then had a pair of base hits against the Dolphins as well.
Yeah, Capion with some good numbers, 17 RBIs and 24 runs scored for this Baruch team.
I believe he's been moved up one spot in the batting order, if I remember correctly. And he was hitting 8th yesterday, so he's been moved up to the 7th spot. His average up at 295. That's good for 4th on the team now, so certainly helped his batting average with his day yesterday, as looks like Loya wants to have a word with Teichman. We saw a lot of command issues on the mound for pitchers, really on every team except the Dolphins yesterday here at the baseball complex. I guess those other 2 teams, of course, being only the Beavers and Bearcats, but control issues were a common theme for just about every pitcher who entered the game for those 2 sides, as that one is just foul. Line down the first baseline, landed just outside of the chalk, and I'm not sure Donahue in right field was initially aware of the call. But a lot of walks in the 2 games we covered yesterday, and we actually saw 2 batters hit square in the helmet with pitches that got away. So a couple of scary moments yesterday, and those weren't the only 2 batters hit. Fortunately, the only 2 hit in the head, as that's lofted out to shallow right field, but ranging back and making the catch on the lip of the grass is Doyle for the second out, holding at second base.
So Doyle Doyle having a busy inning here.
The third baseman, number 9, Jorge Keith Mercado.
That will bring up Jorge Keith Mercado. Mercado enters action, a 167 hitter. Gets the start over at third base in this game. We saw Angel Acevedo get a pair of starts over there against the Beavers and Dolphins in yesterday's pair of games. 1-0 the count on Mercado. And Teichman will step off and look O'Gara back to second base. Here comes the 1-0 pitch, and that's fouled back into the seats. That evens the count at 1, and it's not only the fans that have to be worried about getting struck by a foul ball in the seats, but last night we had a shattered windshield as the result of a foul ball. So if you are parking here at the CSI Baseball Complex, it would be wise to park a bit further from the field if you can, as the 1-1 pitch is in for a called strike 2.
Yes, I've certainly seen a lot of those over the years.
We joked about it during the broadcast that it would be exceptionally demoralizing for someone to return to their car after a long night like last night, only to find a shattered windshield. And unfortunately for an unlucky fan, that was exactly what happened. But public safety quickly took care of it, and he received the necessary assistance quickly. Hopefully that doesn't deter him from coming back, as the count is 1-2 on Mercado. And he takes down and in. That will even the count at 2. Long look in from Teichman. Here comes the 2-2 pitch. That's popped up on the infield, and making the catch is Pimentel for the final out of the inning. Liam O'Gara reaches on an error to open up the bottom half of the second, but the Bearcats unable to get any more than that. Heading into the third, still no score from the CSI Baseball Complex. More CUNYAC Championship Baseball when we come back.
You make me wear my bike helmet. Taught me never to run with scissors.
You tell me to stay away from drugs.
To always buckle my seatbelt. And to follow the swimming rules. You're always looking out for me and trying to keep me safe.
So why do you keep a loaded gun in your drawer? Here in the garage.
Closet, shoebox, under the bed. Where anyone can get to it. How safe is that?
How safe is that?
How safe is that?
You asked them to follow some safety rules. Now they're asking you. In fact, they're counting on you. Never let your gun get into the wrong hands. If you own a firearm and are not using it, please be responsible and be sure that it's stored in a safe place. Remember, always lock it up. For more information on firearm storage safety, visit ncpc.org.
You make me wear my bike helmet. Taught me never to run with scissors.
You tell me to stay away from drugs.
To always buckle my seatbelt. And to follow the swimming rules. You're always looking out for me and trying to keep me safe.
So why do you keep a loaded gun in your drawer? Here in the garage.
Closet, shoebox, under the bed. Where anyone can get to it. How safe is that?
How safe is that?
How safe is that?
You asked them to follow some safety rules. Now they're asking you. In fact, they're counting on you. Never let your gun get into the wrong hands. If you own a firearm and are not using it, please be responsible and be sure that it's stored in a safe place. Remember, always lock it up. For more information on firearm storage safety, visit ncpc.org.
You make me wear my bike helmet. Taught me never to run with scissors.
You tell me to stay away from drugs.
To always buckle my seatbelt.
Austin Donahue to lead things off for Finlandia in the top half of the third inning. Still no score in this winner-go-home game between the Bearcats and Lions, and Donahue takes a called strike, evening the count at 1. One base hit per side thus far in this game. The two pitchers have been good to this point, as the 1-1 pitch misses outside for ball 2. Two and 1 the count. And the 2-1 in on the hands. Chopped foul by Donahue. And that evens the count at 2. Of course, baseball, not the only action going on here at the College of Staten Island today, as we have softball being played down the hill. Game 1 down there already has come to a conclusion. As the 2-2 pitch is swung on and missed by Donahue, and he goes down on strikes. The second punch out for Daniel Malik.
So Malik working well here, using both sides of the plates early.
Back to the top of the order for Finlandia.
Number 12, Brian Doyle.
Brian Doyle will be the batter. Doyle walked to lead off the game, as it looks like our scoreboard is back up and running. That's always much more convenient for our viewers, as that is chopped foul. After drawing that walk to lead off the game, Brian Doyle advanced to second on a sacrifice bunt. Was ultimately advanced to third on a ground out, and then stranded there as he takes a called strike 2.
Yeah, and there's that slow off speed that we've seen from Daniel Malik as he continues to use that in his favor.
0-2 the count. And an ugly swing and a miss by Doyle. That pitch got away from Donovan Hunt, but he scrambles over to pick it up and throws out Doyle for out number 2. That's the third strikeout of the game for Malik.
Number 10, Nick Geyser.
And Bobby, how much more difficult is it to hit an off-speed pitch like that with an unorthodox delivery like what we've seen from Daniel Malik thus far?
Yeah, it certainly is with a delivery like that, and that's why you want to get yourself ahead of the count. Even though we've seen Malik throw it at pretty much any count so far. I know it's early, but yeah, you certainly want to think fastball.
Malik clearly not afraid to work inside as well. We've seen a lot of pitches in on the hands of these Alliance hitters. As that's pulled on the ground over to third, Mercado fields it cleanly, and his throw right on target for the final out. Lions go down 1-2-3 in their half of the third, bottom half of the third. When we come back, still no score here on CUNYAC Championship Weekend from the CSI Baseball Complex.
One-on-One is an independently owned and operated physical therapy center since 1999.
One-on-One has multiple offices located in Staten Island and in Brooklyn.
One-on-One has been getting people back to living pain-free for almost 14 years.
The number one goal of One-on-One is to provide quality health care for our community and continue to strive to be the best in our field.
One-on-One physical therapy gets our clients back to work, back to play, and back to function as soon as possible. We help them reclaim their life.
Here at Tim Hortons, we know what mornings are all about. Bacon. Wake up to 6 strips of crispy bacon on a toasted everything bagel. The new Bacon Everything Bagel Sandwich. Great quality at a great value. It's all good at Tim Hortons. Here at Tim Hortons, we know what mornings are all about. Bacon. Wake up to 6 strips of crispy bacon on a toasted everything bagel. The new
And we're back from the CSI Baseball Complex. Still no score heading into the bottom half of the third inning. I did mention before as well that softball is being played right behind us down the hill. Of course, softball also in the midst of their CUNYAC Championship Weekend. First game of softball went final. Trying to get that score for you. I'll have it in just a moment. Well, I don't have the final score in front of me as they've already begun game number 2. Lehman leading Hunter 1-0 in the top of the first. Interesting score there as Hunter widely viewed as the biggest threat to the Dolphins repeating as CUNYAC champions. I believe that makes it 6 in a row for women's softball if they were to win this year's CUNY championship. I'll get the final score of the game from earlier in just a few, as quickly behind in the count, 0-2 is Elvis Klein. And he goes down on strikes. So Klein sees 3 pitches and is sent back to the dugout on strikes. He goes down swinging for out number 1.
So both pitchers working pretty well here early, Joe.
Both pitchers have been strong on the mound to this point. So a lot of arms struggling yesterday, especially in game number 1, as that pitch is taken out of the zone by Donovan Hunt. Hunt, without an official at bat in this game, drew a walk back in the first. First man to come to the plate for both of these teams in this game reached via the base on balls. Both cases were either erased or stranded on the base paths. Hunt was erased on a 5-4-3 double play. And Brian Doyle of the Lions was stranded over at third as the count evens at 2 on Donovan Hunt.
And looking down from our booth, Joe, John Jay in front of us and the Dolphins to our left. And that's a good thing about, or something that I always enjoyed, as you just get to sit around and see who advances in this tournament.
And that's back-to-back punch-outs for Brandon Teichman, who looks to be getting stronger as he moves forward in this start. Quickly 2 away, and Michael McGroarty will be the batter. That's strikeout Teichman's third. Daniel Malik has 3 of his own as well. That, of course, Teichman's counterpart on the mound for the Bearcats in this game. Michael McGroarty's ahead in the count 1-0. And the 1-0 pitch misses up and away for ball 2. Teichman hasn't fallen behind much in this game on the mound as he finds the zone with that 2-0 pitch. You mentioned how much easier it is for a hitter to swing the bat ahead in the count, Bobby, and Teichman really hasn't given the Bearcats that opportunity in this game. Well, Michael McGroarty will see a 3-1 pitch here. And he takes ball 4, so that is the second walk issued by Brandon Teichman.
Man, those 2-out walks will drive coaches a little crazy. And that'll bring up the dangerous J.P. Ramirez for the Bearcats.
Ramirez singled back in the first inning. He was ultimately stranded over at first base as that misses up and away for ball 1. This next pitch will be number 39 for Brandon Teichman. And it is fouled into the seats, which will even the count at 1. Should be interesting to see here if Michael McGroarty looks to swipe a bag. Stands over at first base.
Yeah, probably not a bad time for it.
Nice size lead, but he doesn't go anywhere as Ramirez takes a big swing and comes up empty for strike 2. One ball and 2 strikes, the count on J.P. Ramirez. That's hit hard over to short. Tough hop there for Pimentel, but he's able to field the ball cleanly and flip on over to second base for the final out. A 2-out walk issued by Brandon Teichman, but nothing more as we are scoreless through 3 innings here on CUNYAC Championship Weekend from the CSI Baseball Complex. More exclusive CUNY Championship coverage when we come back.
Na 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 na, I love you so. I love you, I love you. La 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 la, la 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 la.
We're here.
Yay!
It's a short drive from your neighborhood to your naturehood. To find a neighborhood park or green space near you, visit discovertheforest.org.
La 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 la. I love you so. I love you. I love you. La 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 la. La 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 la.
We're here.
Yay!
It's a short drive from your neighborhood to your naturehood. To find a neighborhood park or green space near you, visit discovertheforest.org.
And we're back here on CUNY Championship Weekend from the CSI Baseball Complex. Still no score in this winner-go-home game between the Lions of Finlandia University and the Baruch College Bearcats. And this game, really a stark contrast from what we saw last night. Dave and I, of course, covered those games, Bobby, but the first game saw 26 runs scored between the two teams, 19 of those scored by the Bearcats, who are, of course, playing right now and are out in the field. But in game number 2 also, 13 total runs scored, 11 of those scored by the College of Staten Island, who we will see coming up next against the Bloodhounds of John Jay College. That game a rematch of 2 games that we covered earlier this season, 2 very entertaining games between the Dolphins and Bloodhounds, which I believe was one of our first 2 broadcasts of the season. If not, I think it was our first.
I think so.
A very entertaining doubleheader earlier this season. That doubleheader between the Dolphins and Bloodhounds was played back in early April.
And that is an awful amount of runs scored yesterday, so a little bit of a different story here today, at least early.
And I think a big part of it is that there was some very sloppy play in the field yesterday. I could not believe some of the routine plays that were botched, as that one is crushed down the left field line. If it's fair, it's gone. And that is a foul ball, as Joey Krug really got a hold of that pitch and crushed it down the left field line. That was a no-doubter if it stayed fair. That cleared the wall by a good 30 or 40 feet. Out onto the track beyond the left field wall.
Yeah, that ball was hit awfully well, and I think I had a feeling that was foul off the bat, but
certainly close.
Certainly got all that one.
As Krug takes outside for ball 1. Krug, the designated hitter for the Lions. 0 for 1 in this game. Grounded out back in the first inning. Count on Krug even at 1. A good breaking ball there from Malik. Finds the zone for strike 2. Here's the 1-2 pitch. That's hit well out to left field. Actually pretty shallow, and that one will fall for a base hit. Well, Krug got a bit more out in front of that one than I thought. Lofted it into shallow left field and just over the outstretched glove. I think that was the shortstop Capion who made a diving attempt, perhaps the third baseman Mercado. That would have been an incredible play if it had been made, but 3 Bearcats converging around that ball and all of them unable to make the play. So it's a leadoff single for Joey Krug.
Yeah, that ball catching the end of the bat for Joey Krug, but regardless, Finlandia will take it. And there's a man on with no away.
That's another leadoff base runner for the Lions. They got the leadoff man on in the first inning as well. Stranded him over at third base. As that's hit out to center field, ranging back is Climb, and he makes the catch for the first out. Over at softball, Hunter just took a 2-1 lead over Lehman. Game in the top of the second. Gene Pimentel, the batter. He's 0 for 1, struck out in his first at bat in the second inning. They're holding Krug on over at first base. Big hole on the right side. That's grounded toward the left side. Nice diving stop by Mercado. Throw to second in time for 1, but the relay throw not nearly in time to turn 2. A nice play over at third base by Jorge Keith Mercado on the diving stop, and gets the lead runner at second.
Yeah, that's some play by Mercado over there at third. Off the bat, I thought that was a base hit for sure, Joe, and he proved me wrong, making a nice play, diving to his left and getting out that lead runner.
That brings up the catcher, Ben Loya. Loya 0 for 1, grounded out in the second. Only 3 total base hits in this game between the two teams. 2 for the Lions, 1 for the Bearcats. as that breaking ball sails inside.
Yeah, something we haven't seen in a little while, Joe, where a run or two could ultimately make the difference in this game.
Much unlike what we saw yesterday, as I mentioned before. A couple of high-scoring games. That's taken outside. Loya ahead in the count here, 2-0. Be looking for a good pitch to hit here. That's Scott out to left center field. Climb ranging back, giving chase, looking up, and that is over his head. It one-hops the wall. That ball just kept carrying. It will bring home the first run of the game as Pimentel comes in to score, and the Lions take a 1-0 lead.
And it really did just keep carrying, Joe. I did not know it was hit that well. Ultimately landing right in front of the fence on the warning track in left center field. But a nice piece of hitting there. And Finlandia up to a quick 1-0 lead.
It's very tough for us to read fly balls hit here at the CSI Baseball Complex. And clearly, as we've said many times already, it's equally difficult for the outfielders. A lot of the time they misread the ball and initially take a break in the wrong direction. And I'm not sure Klein was guilty of that on that play, but that ball, as we said, it just kept carrying. And I'm surprised how well Loya hit it, as that one's fouled down the left field line by Daniel Logan. Logan singled in his first at-bat back in the second inning. So a big RBI double for Ben Loya plates the first run of the game in the fourth inning. Didn't need to wait that long for scoring in either of our two games that we covered last night, as that misses outside, evening the count at 1.
And of course, with the warmer weather that we're getting now, the ball will travel more, as we just saw.
Bobby and I will be with you all day and all night. Certainly seems to be shaping up that way, though this game does have a good pace to it. We're in the fourth inning with this game about 45 minutes old, but of course we got off to a late start. Still 2 more games to bring you on CSI Sportsnet today. Here's the 2-1 pitch, and that sails outside.
And it looks like Malik having a little bit of command issues as he falls behind the count 3-1.
Final score of that CUNYAC championship softball game between the Dolphins and Baruch College was 8-0 Dolphins. As with that swing and a miss by Logan, the count runs full, so CSI softball wins their first CUNYAC tournament game, defeating the Bearcats 8-0. As I mentioned, Lehman College and Hunter College playing right now. Hunter led 2-1 at last I checked, as that's lined into center field for a base hit. Rounding third is Loya. He will try to score the ball, mishandled in center field by Klein, and Loya will score from second without a throw. So the Lions have taken a 2-0 lead on a 2-out RBI single off the bat of Daniel Logan.
So Finlandia with a 2 spot here in the top of the fourth. Both coming with 2 outs. And Joe, I think if that ball was fielded cleanly, they might have had a play at the plate there.
I think you're right, Bobby. As the Lions have really stepped up here in this inning. Josh Gregory, the batter, is we have our first visitor of the afternoon. Dave and I had several last night during the broadcast.
Yeah, but back to that point, Joe, you think there would have been a play at the plate there?
I think there very well may have been, Bobby.
Would have been close.
Well, there goes our itinerary for the day, leaving the press box. I'm sure they have another copy somewhere else. Is a big swing and a miss by Gregory at that 2-0 pitch. Not necessarily a good pitch to hit there. A breaking ball in the outer half that broke out of the strike zone.
Yeah, no. With the 2-0 count, you're going to look for one spot only, especially off speed, too. I'm going to let that one go.
The 2-1 misses up and in, and another 3-ball count in this inning. Saw Daniel Logan just single home a run on a 3-2 pitch. Here comes the 3-1 offering, and that is in for a called strike 2. So once again, Malik pitching with a full count on the hitter. Logan will get a head start over at first. Here comes the payoff pitch, and that's grounded foul. And it looked like our trainer, Allison Ocasio, just avoided being hit by that ball as it skipped off the railing of the dugout on the Baruch side. Or Allison actually might be down at softball. I saw those blue jerseys and immediately thought Dolphins, then realized my error. That one's hit a mile high. Foul territory to the right of first base, and getting underneath it is Roque to make the catch for the final out, but not before the Lions strike first in this game with a pair of runs in the inning on 3 base hits. And Finlandia leads Baruch through 3.5 innings by a score of 2-0. Bearcats will look to answer when we come back.
This is why you took a second job. While you taught yourself how to fix the plumbing. While you'll do whatever it takes to keep your home. And that is why we want to help. We are making home affordable, a free government resource that can make paying the mortgage easier. Call 888-995-HOPE today.
One-on-One is an independently owned and operated physical therapy center since 1999.
One-on-One has multiple offices located in Staten Island and in Brooklyn.
One-on-One has been getting people back to living pain-free for almost 14 years.
The number one goal of One-on-One is to provide quality health care for our community and continue to strive to be the best in our field.
One-on-One physical therapy gets our clients back to work, back to play, and back to function as soon as possible. We help them reclaim their life.
We're back from the CSI Baseball Complex. Lions took a 2-0 lead in the top half of the 4th, and Baruch College will look to answer in their half of inning number 4. It will be 4, 5, and 6 due up, beginning with Gerardo Roque. Roque 0 for 1, struck out back in the first inning. First pitch to Roque misses up and in for ball 1. That one's hit out to right center field. Giving chase is Donahue, and he reaches up to make the catch for the first out. Ball is carrying well out there today, Bobby. That one again didn't look like it was going to travel very far, and that ball just kept carrying to deep right center field.
Yeah, it certainly has, and it's only going to continue to carry, as that was a nice play over there in right field by Donahue.
Very humid day here at the CSI Baseball Complex. Really wouldn't envision humid weather as helping the ball carry. I thought maybe some dry weather would assist that a bit more. And the 1-0 to Liam O'Gara misses inside for ball 2, so O'Gara working from ahead in the count, 2-0 now. Reached on an error back in the second, and here he's ahead in the count, 3-0.
And we said it earlier, prior to the game, Joe, Finlandia's offensive stats not exactly eye-popping, but here they are with 4 hits and 2 runs across already.
Well, they have an anemic team batting average, to say the least, of about 206, as O'Gara thought he had ball 4. The scoreboard reads 2-1, and O'Gara was ready to throw his bat away and walk on down to first base. And I'm not sure they have any clue what the count is down the hall. I think the count's 3-1.
I believe it's 3-1 as well.
As that's popped up on the infield left side and calling for it and making, well, an error is Pimentel. And those are the kind of plays we saw yesterday. Routine plays on the infield, pop-ups, and fly balls to the outfield, misjudged. And errors like that often cost teams runs. And hopefully, if you're a fan of the Lions, that is not the case here. But Baruch now has a 1-out base runner.
Yeah, you can't give away outs like that, especially in the CUNYAC tournament.
Certainly not the time of year to be making mistakes such as that one. That was Gene Pimentel over at shortstop, botching that pop-up. That brings up Edwin St. Hilaire, the leading RBI man for the Bearcats. He's quickly in a 2-strike call after fouling that pitch away. And a half swing by St. Hilaire, and that's fouled into the seats. Another 0-2 pitch up coming. O'Gara, the runner over at first, and they'll check on him. Not a big lead for O'Gara off of first base. Looks like some of the John Jay players having some laughs in front of us. They await the College of Staten Island following the conclusion of this game. About 30 minutes after this game comes to a close, the Dolphins and Bloodhounds will play one another. Both of those teams won their games yesterday. John Jay actually played twice, so John Jay won 2 games yesterday. The Dolphins won their lone games. That's it well out to left field. Giving chase is Logan, reaching up and making a great catch on the run as he launches a throw in, nearly misses the cutoff man. Nice play there in left field by Daniel Logan.
Yeah, it certainly was a nice play by Daniel Logan out there in left field. And no one likes that play better than shortstop Pimentel, as there's 2 away here.
Well, that one would have been trouble if it gets over the outstretched glove of Daniel Logan. I think undoubtedly scoring from first would have been O'Gara, as that ball would have undoubtedly traveled all the way to the wall and probably allowed O'Gara to score. He was well on his way and had to scramble back to first base. Logan thought he might have a play, so he really fired a throw into the infield, forcing O'Gara to sprint back to first as that runs inside on David Capion. Capion ahead in the count, 1-0. Brandon Teichman about to throw pitch number 55. Has been pretty efficient on the mound thus far, and that's it out to center field. Ranging back is Gregory, and he makes the catch for the final out of the inning. So despite the 1-out error, Brandon Teichman able to put up a 0 following his team's 2 spot in the top half of the inning. We head to the 5th here at the CSI Baseball Complex on CUNYAC Championship Weekend. Finlandia leads Baruch by a score of 2-0. We'll be right back with more CUNY Championship Baseball after this break.
One-on-One is an independently owned and operated physical therapy center since 1999.
One-on-One has multiple offices located in Staten Island and in Brooklyn.
One-on-One has been getting people back to living pain-free for almost 14 years.
The #1 goal of One-on-One is to provide quality health care for our community and continue to strive to be the best in our field.
One-on-one physical therapy gets our clients back to work, back to play, and back to function as soon as possible. We help them reclaim their life.
Here at Tim Hortons, we know what mornings are all about. Bacon. Wake up to 6 strips of crispy bacon on a toasted everything bagel. The new Bacon Everything Bagel Sandwich. Great quality at a great value. It's all good at Tim Hortons.
We're back from the CSI Baseball Complex. Lions over the Bearcats by a score of 2-0 through the first 4 innings, top of the 5th, about to get started. It will be 9-1-2 for Finlandia in their half of the 5th. And Bobby, we saw a miscue in the field committed by the Lions in that last half inning. They did not pay for it. 2 errors in the game for Finlandia, but despite that, they lead 2-0, due in large part to a strong performance on the mound by Brandon Teichman.
Yeah, you said it, Joe. Luckily enough, no damage heard from that error for Finlandia, and Teichman doing a phenomenal job here on the mound.
Well, Teichman has only allowed 1 base hit in this game, so he's been stellar. That base hit came back in the first inning with the bases empty. It was a J.P. Ramirez single, and that's really been it for Teichman in this game. He has also issued a pair of walks, but neither of those proved costly, as one was erased promptly on a double play, hit into by the next batter, and The next walk came with 2 outs in the inning, and Teichmann then retired the next hitter. So Brandon Teichmann has been very good for Finlandia, and I mentioned it during the pregame. They would need to get solid pitching given the hitting numbers and the way Teichmann's going on the mound right now. 2 runs might be enough. Lions will look to add to that 2-run lead in their half of the 5th. Austin Donahue will be the batter, and that's chopped on the ground over to short. Another chance for Capion, and he's handcuffed by the ball, and his throw nearly wild as well. And well, I mentioned clean play in the field largely heading into that last inning, and now a couple of errors, 1 on each side. As Capion unable to field that ball cleanly. He's had many chances in this game. Here he's charged with the error. And the Lions have a leadoff base runner once again for the 3rd time in 5 innings. That will bring Brian Doyle to the plate. Doyle officially 0 for 1. Drew a walk back in the first and struck out in his second at bat. Is with the corners in. He grounds one through the left side for a base hit. Going first to third is Donahue. Good base running by Austin Donahue, who was running on the pitch, and a nicely executed hit and run, as I think the Bearcats were playing for the bunt, and looks like Doyle took him by surprise.
Yeah, Finlandia working with something here early in the top half of the 5th, and there's runners on the corners with no outs.
Well, if you're a fan of Finlandia, you really have to love what you've seen from your team thus far. They've really executed well at the plate. We saw them lay down a successful sacrifice earlier, a pair of big 2-out hits in the 4th, and a well-executed hit and run there with the corners in. Donahue went first to third, and now the runner takes off from first, and he will be into second base safely without a throw. That's Doyle. On the Doyle base hit through the left side, Donahue went first to third. And
yeah, no shot to get Doyle there at second. So that takes away the double play opportunity.
Doyle found a hole to the left side on that last base hit, as now the infield is in all the way around for Baruch. Still nobody out here in the 5th, and 2 in scoring position for the Lions. Very often in postseason tournament scenarios, you find yourself rooting for the underdog, and Finlandia came in as an underdog in this tournament, and I'm sure they're becoming more and more popular as they continue to gain some traction in this CUNYAC tournament and this matchup with the Bearcats in particular. Of course, many Dolphins fans will also be tuning in later, might not want to hear that.
Yeah, they certainly have played well here.
Going into the season, Bobby, Dave Pizzuto and I talked about it yesterday, as that's lined into left center field for a base hit. 2 runs will score. And that is a 2 RBI single off the bat of Nick Geiser, and the Lions have doubled their lead from 2 to 4. Our score now 4-0 in favor of Finlandia.
So Finlandia doing a fine job here so far on the mound and at the plate. Plating in 6 hits and 4 runs.
Number 11, Joey Krug.
Well, Joey Krug nearly hit the biggest home run I've ever seen hit at the CSI Baseball Complex. It was just foul, but it was a mammoth shot to left field. One of very few no-doubters that you'll see here. And he takes up and in for ball 1. Runner on first is Nick Geiser, who just drove in 2 with a single, and batter Krug takes a called strike on the outside corner. Count even at 1 on Krug. And that pitch behind him, and runner at first. Geiser could have walked to second base, as he even thought about third for a moment.
So another RBI opportunity here for Finlandia's best hitter, Krug, up at the plate.
Things beginning to slip away from Daniel Malik. Lions have started to hit the ball hard off of him, and Malik got off to a very strong start in this game. 3 scoreless innings. Didn't face more than 4 batters in any of those 3 innings, and in the 4th, things began to unravel, and that's continued into the 5th. Here comes the 3-1 to Krug, and a huge swing by Krug. Really screwed himself into the dirt there. Nice crater in the batter's box.
That was certainly a 3-1 swing there by Krug as his helmet nearly fell off.
He planted on that right foot and left behind a nice imprint in the batter's box. Here comes the payoff pitch, and that misses down and away for ball 4. So Malik issues the free pass to Krug.
As we take a look down left field, and Baruch's bullpen getting a little bit busy.
That's the second walk of the game, issued by Malik. Devontae Fleming will be the batter, and I think that's number 6 getting warm in the bullpen for the Bearcats. Number 6 would be Nicholas Valeriano. Valeriano, I believe, got into both games yesterday. Late in both games.
Think we'll see a little bit of small ball here, Joe?
We very well may, as the corners are in once again. And last time those corners pinched in, they were taken by surprise when Brian Doyle swung the bat. And laying down the bunt is Fleming. And going to third to cut down the lead runner is Daniel Malik. A nice play by Malik there, heads up play. And out by a pretty wide margin over at third base is Nick Geiser.
Yeah, and if you're Fleming, you want to get that sacrifice bunt down anywhere else but exactly right back at the pitcher. And that's what he did, and Malik doing a good job getting that lead runner out of third.
1 away now. And Gene Pimentel will be the batter. That's fouled straight back.
That's a good swing. I've seen a lot of good swings here so far from Finlandia.
Finlandia has outperformed the numbers considerably in this game. We mentioned the team batting average just over 200, and not many players in this lineup who get on base very often either, but in this game, it's hard not to like what you've seen from them, and they've turned it up at the right time apparently, as they picked up a victory yesterday over Lehman, sending the Lightning home, and now today, playing to keep their season alive, have given a very good accounting of themselves. Of course, the first time we've seen the Lions this year, as that's lined into right center field for a base hit. Krug will round third and come in to score.
Could be 2.
And it indeed will be an extra base hit. A play at the plate upcoming, and sliding in safely is Devontae Fleming. So Fleming scores all the way from first base on what appeared to be a soft line drive, and it split the gap in right center perfectly, traveled out toward the warning track, and I think that's all for Daniel Malik, who has surrendered 6 runs, 4 of them coming in the 5th after a 2-spot put up by the Lions in the 4th. And I think it's the end of the line for Malik. And it indeed is, as Nicholas Valeriano is coming in from the Bearcats bullpen. So we'll step aside for just about a minute or two, take a break. And when we come back, I'll have the numbers on Nicholas Valeriano as he looks to close the door on the top half of the 5th. Our score in the top of the 5th. Lions 6, Bearcats nothing here on CUNYAC Championship Weekend from the CSI Baseball Complex.
Alvin and the Chipmunks want to remind you, bacteria can hide in food and make you ill.
Wow.
But you can keep bacteria from ruining your day with 4 simple steps. Clean.
I'm waiting for the rinse cycle.
Separate. Cook.
Fire in the hole!
And chill.
We chipmunks are notoriously tidy.
Check your steps. The road trip to food safety starts at foodsafety.gov.
So they say it's a man's world? I don't see anybody's name on it.
While they were doing their thing, we slowly changed ours.
Today, women can do anything men can do. And there's one thing we're even better at.
Of all the things you've done with your bike, donating it to Goodwill may be the most incredible of all. Your donations help fund job placement and training for people in your community, which means your stuff can be more powerful than you think. Goodwill. Donate stuff, create jobs.
Hart, what's going on? I'm leaving. Why? What did I do? Not enough. You constantly ignore me. You barely eat anything healthy. You're half as active as you used to be. The pressure is just too much. I quit. Okay, I get it. I'll do better. Just, please, don't leave.
Alvin and the Chipmunks want to remind you, bacteria can hide in food and make you ill.
Wow.
But you can keep bacteria from ruining your day with 4 simple steps. Clean.
I'm waiting for the rinse cycle.
Separate. Cook. And chill.
We chipmunks are notoriously tight.
Check your steps. The road trip to food safety starts at Alvin and the Chipmunks want to remind you, bacteria can hide in food and make you ill.
Wow.
But you can keep bacteria from ruining your day with 4 simple steps. Clean.
I'm waiting for the rinse cycle.
Separate. Cook. And chill. Alvin and the Chipmunks want to remind you, bacteria can hide in food and make you ill.
Wow.
But you can keep bacteria from ruining your day with 4 simple steps. Clean.
I'm waiting for the rinse cycle.
Separate. Cook. And chill.
We chipmunks are notoriously tight.
Check your steps. The road trip to food safety starts at food safety. Alvin and the Chipmunks want to remind you, bacteria can hide in food and make you ill.
Wow.
But you can keep bacteria from ruining your day with 4 simple steps. Clean.
I'm waiting for the rinse cycle.
Separate. Cook. And chill.
We chipmunks are notoriously tight.
Check your steps. The road trip to food safety starts at foodsafety.gov.
So they say it's a man's world? I don't see anybody's name on it.
While they were doing their thing, we slowly changed ours.
Today, women can do anything men can do.
Pickoff throw behind
And
the
there's
runner
one
at second.
thing.
It gets away.
Alvin and the Chipmunks want to remind you, bacteria can hide in food and make you ill.
Wow.
But you can keep bacteria from ruining your day with 4 simple steps. Clean.
I'm waiting for the rinse cycle.
Separate. Cook. And chill.
We chipmunks are notoriously tight.
Check your steps. The road trip to food safety starts at foodsafety.gov.
So they say it's a man's world? I don't see anybody's name on it.
Alvin and the Chipmunks want to remind you, bacteria can hide in food and make you ill.
Wow.
But you can keep bacteria from ruining your... Alvin and the Chipmunks want to remind you, bacteria can hide in food and make you ill.
Wow.
But you can keep... Alvin and the Chipmunks want to remind you, bacteria can hide in food and make you ill.
Wow.
But you can keep bacteria from ruining your day with 4 simple steps. Clean.
I'm waiting for the rinse cycle.
Separate. Cook. And chill.
We chipmunks are notoriously tight.
Check your steps.
This is the story of a boy who is very sensitive to lights and sounds. So he built secret hiding places where nothing could get in. The boy didn't like looking people in the eye. It made him feel uncomfortable. One day, he found out he had something called autism. His family got him help. And slowly, he learned how to live with it better.
Early intervention can make a lifetime of difference. Learn the signs at autismspeaks.org.
This is the story of a boy who is very
When I was 6, my days were spent playing basketball. When I was 6, my dream was to make it to the NBA. When I was 6, my mom had a stroke.
I'm Paul George, and I want you to spot a stroke fast.
F, face drooping. A, arm weakness. S, speech difficulty. T, time to call 911.
Protect the ones you love.
Spot a stroke fast. When I was 6,
And we are back. It's CUNYAC Championship weekend from the CSI Baseball Complex. Our score in this win-or-go-home game, 6-0 in favor of the Lions. Finlandia over Baruch, heading into the bottom half of the 5th. For the Bearcats, 8-9-1 due up, beginning with Jorge Keith Mercado. And he fouls back the first pitch he sees. Mercado 0 for 1 in this game. Popped out to short back in the second. Mercado also made a nice play over at third in this game. That has hit sharply on the ground over to first. Nice backhand stop over there at first base by Geyser, and he flips over to the pitcher Teichman for out number 1.
And that's some play over there at first base by Geyser as that ball was hit completely on the nose. That's a good quick out. Good quick first out for Finlandia.
Both teams have committed a pair of errors in this game, but we have seen some good defensive plays thus far. One in each of the last 2 innings for Finlandia. Elvis Klein is the batter. Klein 0 for 1. Struck out leading off the 3rd inning and tips that one into the mitt of Loya for strike 1. Klein pops up a bunt over the screen and into the seats. You don't see that too often.
Yeah, luckily enough for Klein there, the ball coming out of play.
Do have a score update from over at softball. Hunter leads Lehman by a score of 4-0, or excuse me, 4-1. That's taken outside for a ball, running the count to 1-2. Here comes the 1-2 pitch. That skips in the dirt, evening the count at 2. Here comes the 2-2, and that's chopped foul. Klein barely able to stay alive.
And Teichman not necessarily throwing hard here. But as we've said, Joe, he's doing a fine job keeping these Baruch Bearcat hitter off balance.
And the 2-2 pitch, once again, fouled straight back. Donovan Hunt, the leadoff hitter for the Bearcats, on deck. They need to get something going soon. That's popped up. Shallow in center field, ranging back, is the second baseman Doyle to make the catch for out number 2. A lot of weak outs for the Bearcats in this game, and that's been an issue. I already count 3 pop-ups on the infield for them in this game. Also struck out 3 times. And in this game, 2 of their 5 base runners have reached on an error. Actually, it was Liam O'Gara who reached in both of his at-bats on an error. So 2 walks, a pair of ROE for O'Gara, and a single by J.P. Ramirez. Still only 1 hit for the Bearcats. It's hard to believe that this team that put up 19 runs and 18 hits in a game yesterday has been held to 1 hit today.
And you said it, Joe, looking at their stats before the game, a very dangerous Bearcats lineup. So Teichman doing a fine job here today.
Well, for those who didn't join us for the pregame, I'll go through those numbers again. Pitching numbers first for Finlandia. The Lions come in with a team ERA of 8.5. So that's pretty hefty ERA, to say the least. And I mentioned the robust offensive numbers yesterday for Baruch College, and they've really been shut down. Also, the batting numbers for Finlandia, they come in hitting at 216 as a team. I might have said 206 before. It's 216. Unfortunately for the Lions, that's not much better, but they've executed at the plate time and time again today and have come through with big hits on more than one occasion. So it's been a good showing for Finlandia thus far. Again, our first look at the Lions this season, so we have nothing to go by except the numbers entering this game. But again, have to love what you've seen from your team if you're a fan of the Lions. And Baruch may be nearing desperation time as the 3-2 pitch misses up high for ball 4, and the Bearcats have a 2-out base runner.
Yeah, we'll see if the Bearcats can get something going here with 2 outs.
Number 2, Michael McGordy.
And they're going to need to. Down 6-0, they're going to need to.
McGordy swings and misses at a pitch well out of the zone. Chased outside for strike 1. McGordy officially 0 for 1, grounded into a 5-4-3 double play back in the first inning. And he hits one out to left field. Settling underneath it is Logan, and he makes the catch. So the Bearcats draw a 2-out walk, but unable to move that base runner along, and through 5 innings, Brandon Teichmann's working on a shutout. Lions lead the Bearcats by a score of 6-0, top half of the 6th, when we come back.
Hi, may I please have an application? Thank you.
Skip the drama. Get your diploma.
Okay.
Take that first step towards a better future. Find free adult education classes at finishyourdiploma.org.
As an American, it's hard to hear that we have a serious hunger issue in our country. And as a parent, it's even harder to hear that 1 in 5 of our kids struggles with hunger, especially when billions of pounds of good food are wasted every year. Feeding America is a nationwide network of food banks that helps provide billions of meals to families in need right in your community. Visit feedingamerica.org to support Feeding America and your local food bank. Together we can solve hunger. Together, we're Feeding America.
We're back here at the Seaside Baseball Complex. Lions lead the Bearcats by a score of 6-0 entering the top half of the 6th inning. And this is a score that is very surprising to us as we saw the Bearcats explode at the plate yesterday for 19 runs. The Dolphins really had their way with Baruch, defeating the Bearcats 11-2 in the second game played last night. But here in the first game on day 2 of CUNYAC Championship Weekend, it is the Lions that have come out and jumped out to a 6-run lead. Time running out on the Bearcats, perhaps time running out on their season, as it will be 8-9-1 due up for Finlandia in their half of the 6th. Joshua Gregory will lead things off, and Bobby had to step aside for just a moment, so I'm doubling as both the engineer and play-by-play commentator. You'll have to bear with me as I slide on over into the seat to my left. Count 2-0 on Gregory. And he chops one down the first base line. And stepping on first base will be Roque for the first out of the inning.
The right fielder, number 28, Austin Donahue.
That will bring up Austin Donahue. Donahue officially 0 for 2, struck out in the 3rd, reached on an error in the 5th. And he takes a called strike 1. And that's fouled back. That will quickly put Donahue in a 2-strike hole. The 0-2 fouled away once again down the right field line. And the 0-2 is popped up. I should say skied out to center field, and thought he got underneath that ball, but Donahue got much more of it than I initially thought. And making the catch is Elvis Klein in center field for the Bearcats. That is the second out.
And as we've said before, Joe, that ball continues to carry out there in the outfield on this warm, sunny day. Sunny right now.
Definitely haven't seen the ball carry like this all season long, and I guess that's due in large part, as you said, the weather much warmer today, and we were in the 90s yesterday as that's fouled back. Back to the top of the order for the Lions. Brian Doyle is the batter, as that might have found a car, and I think that will prompt a look from some of the CUNY staff. It didn't sound good. A lot of the baseball players taking a look out towards the parking lot as well, so we may have another shattered windshield on our hands. Of course, last night we had one that was dealt with after the conclusion of Game 2, as that's lofted into shallow right center, giving chase his climb, and that's over his head. And again, Bobby, the ball carries out to right center field, and that one got in on the hands of Doyle, and he inside outed that pitch into the right center field gap.
Yeah, the ball certainly kept traveling like we've seen, but Klein initially broke in, which is going to be tough on a day like today.
And how many times have we said that this season? The initial break on the ball costing an outfielder the play. Is that time you mentioned it? Klein broke in, and that cost him a chance to make a play on that ball. Two away in the Lions' half of the sixth. The runner in scoring position for Nick Geyser. And he takes ball one. Geyser had a big 2 RBI single back in the fifth. He also laid down a sacrifice in the first and grounded out in the third, officially 1 for 2. Here he's ahead in the count 2-0. Here comes the 2-0 pitch. And that misses low. That runs the count to 3-0.
So Finlandia looking to put another one across and boost that lead up to 7.
Here comes the 3-0 pitch. And that's in for a called strike 1. Count 3 balls and 1 strike. And that one's inside out into shallow right field for a base hit. Rounding third and trying to score will be Doyle. The throw to the plate in time. And, well, that's not going to work as Doyle exchanges a handshake with Donovan Hunt. He tried to leap over him, and I think at the last second thought better of it, and wisely so, as Doyle was dead to rights at the plate. So he's cut down at the plate, trying to score the 7th run of the game for the Lions, but Finlandia still leads Baruch by a score of 6-0, and heading into the bottom half of inning number 6, the Bearcats have some work to do, trailing by 6 runs. We'll be right back with more CUNYAC Championship Baseball.
One-on-One is an independently owned and operated physical therapy center since 1999.
One-on-One has multiple offices located in Staten Island and in Brooklyn.
One-on-One has been getting people back to living pain-free for almost 14 years.
The number one goal of One-on-One is to provide quality health care for our community and continue to strive to be the best in our field.
One-on-One physical therapy gets our clients back to work, back to play, and back to function as soon as possible.
When I was 6, my days were spent playing basketball. When I was 6, my dream was to make it to the NBA. When I was 6, my mom had a stroke.
I'm Paul George, and I want you to spot a stroke fast.
F, face drooping. A, arm weakness. S, speech difficulty. T, time to call 911.
Protect the ones you love.
Spot a stroke fast.
And we're back from the CSI Baseball Complex, bottom half of the 6th inning about to get started, and Bearcats still trail by 6 runs. And that's swung on and missed by J.P. Ramirez. And that's popped up on the infield by Ramirez, who initially didn't break out of the box, and catch is made by Doyle at second, retiring Ramirez for the first out.
And Teichman only allowing 1 hit so far, Joe. And it's not like this is an easy lineup to get through.
The first baseman, number 5, Geraldo Roque.
That will bring up Gerardo Roque. He's 0 for 2 in this game. He takes out of the zone for ball 1. That swung on and missed, and I think Roque got a piece. Either way, that's strike 1, evening the count at 1. Here's the 1-1 pitch, and that swung on and missed for strike 2 as Roque chased out of the strike zone, and they had a word for the home plate umpire about something, not sure what.
And Teichman has really been impressive here. today, working both sides of the plate with his pitches, keeping these hitters off balance as he continues on that strikeout.
And Teichmann, as you said, Bobby, he has been very impressive.
He certainly has.
Roque just looked completely fooled throughout that at-bat, and he's sent back to the dugout on strike swinging for the second out. And that will bring up Liam O'Gara. He's twice reached on an error in this game, once in the second and once in the fourth. One and 0 the count on Liam O'Gara. That misses for ball 2, so O'Gara ahead in the count. 2 balls and no strikes. We have another score update from softball. Hunter beginning to run away with their matchup against the Lightning of Lehman College. Our score, Hunter 6, Lehman 1 in the top of the 5th.
Yeah, we knew that would be a tough game for Lehman, Joe. As you said, Hunter is that other team that can sneak away in this CUNYAC championship, besides the Dolphins, of course.
Count 3-0 on O'Gara, and he takes a called strike 1. Three balls and 1 strike the count on O'Gara. And he takes upstairs for ball 4. So O'Gara is on base for the 3rd time. Of course, he reached on an error in his first 2 plate appearances, but here he draws the 2-out walk.
And Teichmann's only fault, really, the only fault today, is I think I recall at least 3 2-out walks.
I'll check on that for you, Bobby.
Which, of course, probably disappoints him a little bit, but besides that, he's been absolutely stellar here today.
And you are right on the money. That is his 3rd 2-out walk issued in this game. I think it's number 4 overall.
So besides that, he's been dominant. He's pretty much been dominant today.
Still only 1 base hit allowed as that first pitch, or I should say the second pitch, to Edwin St. Hilaire misses upstairs, and looks like John Jay is heading for the clubhouse. We're in the bottom of the 6th inning here between the Lions and Bearcats as the 2-0 pitch is taken for a called strike. The pitch count entering this at bat for Teichmann was 84 as that's popped up and foul.
Couldn't get it.
Nearly had your first put out of the season on that grab. Two balls and 2 strikes, the count on St. Hilaire. St. Hilaire looking to reach base for the first time. Baruch still looking to get on the scoreboard for the first time in this game. Trailing by 6 runs in the 6th inning as St. Hilaire fouls one off. Comes the 2-2. That's fouled straight into the dirt. One run may not seem very significant at this point, but to get back even in this game and hopefully for the Bearcats ultimately win it as their season is on the line, they need to pick up some runs quickly. So a full count here could allow the runner from first to score on a base hit more easily, and I'm sure Teichmann wants to avoid ball 3, and he does just that as he strikes out Hilaire. The leading RBI man for the Bearcats goes down swinging for the final out in the bottom half of the 6th. So a 2-out walk issued by Brandon Teichmann, but once again, nothing more. His shutout remains intact through 6 innings of play. Our score through 6, Finlandia 6, and Baruch nothing. Top half of the 7th when we come back here on CSI Sportsnet.
Alvin and the Chipmunks want to remind you, bacteria can hide in food and make you ill.
Wow.
But you can keep bacteria from ruining your day with 4 simple steps. Clean.
I'm waiting for the rinse cycle.
Separate. Cook.
Fire in the hole!
And chill.
We chipmunks are notoriously tight.
Check your steps. The road trip to food safety starts at foodsafety.gov.
So they say it's a man's world? I don't see anybody's name on it.
While they were doing their thing, we slowly changed ours.
Today, women can do anything men can do. And there's one thing we're even better at.
Of all the things you've done with your bike, donating it to Goodwill may be the most incredible of all. Your donations help fund job placement and training for people in your community.
Joey Krug will lead things off for the Lions in their half of the 7th inning. Finlandia still leads 6-0. Brandon Teichman working on a shutout. Gave up a base hit back in the 1st inning, and that is the only base hit he has surrendered in this game, as another huge swing from Joey Krug, and he comes up empty.
Yeah, I think we see why he has those numbers that he has, Joe, as he takes some big hacks up there at the plate.
I got to take a look at his home run number. I didn't get that far down his line. Of course, he's the leading hitter on this Lions team. Has certainly appeared locked in at the plate. When he's made contact, it's been pretty good contact. Count 1 ball and 2 strikes on Krug. Comes the 1-2 pitch, and he reaches for one, taps it on the ground softly down the third base line, and that throw to first is high, and I'm not sure how I'd score that, Bobby. I think a good throw had him, but the throw, of course, needed to be rushed. It's tough. I think that'll go down as a hit.
I think it should go down as a hit as well, and we'll see.
It probably will.
Yep.
It will.
It did already.
The third baseman, number 22,
So
Devontae
that's Krug's
Fleming.
2nd hit of the day.
That will bring up Devontae Fleming. Fleming looking to reach base for the first time in this game. Did actually get on as a result of a fielder's choice in the 5th, but the lead runner was erased over at 3rd. That was actually on a bunt attempt. Gotta write that into my scorecard. So Fleming looking for his first base hit. Taking a look, the Lions have had something going just about every inning, at least one man on base in every inning except the 3rd. As the first pitch to Fleming misses for ball 1. Comes the 1-0. That's in for a called strike. Here's the 1-1 pitch. That's in for a called strike 2.
And if you are just tuning in to CSI Sportsnet, the second game of our triple header today will be CSI Dolphins taking on John Jay.
As that gets by, Donovan Hunt to the backstop, and Joey Krug will take second base. As we had many Dolphins and Bloodhounds seated behind home plate. That is no longer the case, as the stands behind home plate have emptied. Both teams heading for the clubhouse. Count even on Devontae Fleming at 2 balls and 2 strikes. And a big swing by Fleming. He just got a piece as he fouls that one straight back.
And a good cut there by Fleming.
Valeriano taking his time before delivering this 2-2 pitch. That's hit sharply on the ground through the middle for a base hit. Krug will round third and come in to score the 7th run of the game for the Lions, and Finlandia now leads Baruch College 7-0.
And Finlandia continuing to pour it on here. And I don't know, Joe, can they be the Loyola Chicago of the CUNYAC tournament? We'll see.
That's a fair question at this point.
Because they've certainly been impressive.
And I should mention, we spoke about this yesterday, Dave and I, but entering the season, Baruch was chosen as the team most likely to win the CUNYAC postseason championship. The Dolphins took exception to that and, of course, finished the regular season as the 1 seed. That's popped up at the shallow right field, and a miscommunication by the Bearcats, but, of course, forced to hold over at first base was Fleming, so he's thrown out at second. Fortunately for Baruch, that ball didn't skip away, but ranging back on it was McGrody, and coming in was St. Hilaire. Both players watched it fall in between them.
The catcher, number 5, Ben Loya.
That's the first out of the inning, and Ben Loya will come to bat. Diving back into first base safely is the runner over there. Lost track of who it is on first base. I started filling out my scorecard in the 6th inning once again, so I have to correct all that, as that's taken low by Loya. That's Pimentel over at first base. That's swung on and missed by Loya. And I think game 2 over at softball has come to an end, as I hear music playing and see some of our staff returning over to the press box. So looks like we have a final between Hunter and Lehman. I would presume Hunter won that game in fewer than 7 innings, if that game has indeed concluded. 1-1 pitch to Loya, misses down and in. Count now 2-1.
And we knew Baruch was gonna be good this year, and we thought they were gonna make some noise in the tournament. I just don't think their pitching has been as good as recent years.
2 balls and 1 strike the count. I'll have some pitching numbers for Baruch in just a moment to illustrate that point, as that's fouled away. I'm still trying to fix this mess I created over here on my scorecard.
And I remember last year and the years before that, they always had their horse in the mound around this time of the year. Cameron Kitt, the big lefty, as he was a very good pitcher for Baruch.
I believe he is the pitcher you had your game-winning hit off of last year in one of the games I covered.
He was.
As that's grounded softly over to third, and throwing to second to get the lead runner is Mercado. The relay over to first, not nearly in time.
But regardless, he was never fun to face, as he had some good stuff out there on the mound. A hard-throwing lefty, good off-speed.
Two away here in the top half, I should say.
20,
the scoreboard. The scoreboard reads that we're through 7. And I don't think that's correct. Is it? That's not correct, right, Bobby?
I think
no, it's not.
No?
As that's a tough hop for Cappy on that ball. Hit him in the face, and he throws his glove away in frustration as that ball skipped up right into his jaw. I had to question myself for a moment. We are indeed in the top half of the 7th as Cappion takes one to the mouth.
And we'll see if any of the trainers will come out. Yeah, there's Allison going out to check him.
Allison's over at softball. That's not
yeah.
Allison.
Oh, it looks like Allison.
It does. We spoke about this yesterday before the game, but that is not Allison.
Oh, okay. I stand corrected.
That's the head trainer for Baruch.
Okay. From here.
Who may actually be listed in the program, so if
we'll
her name is in the program. Teresa Acosta is the head athletic trainer for the Bearcats.
That's what I meant to say.
Of course. You're forgiven. So they'll check on Cappion over at short. And this might be an extended break in the action. We'll step aside for about a minute and come back, and hopefully David Cappion is still on the field when we return. But his team, the Baruch College Bearcats, trailing the Lions of Finlandia University 7-0 in the top half of the 7th. More CUNY Championship baseball when we come back.
One-on-One is an independently owned and operated physical therapy center since 1999.
One-on-One has multiple offices located in Staten Island and in Brooklyn.
One-on-One has been getting people back to living pain-free for almost 14 years.
The number one goal of One-on-One is to provide quality health care for our community and continue to strive to be the best in our field.
One-on-one physical therapy gets our clients back to work, back to play, and back to function as soon as possible. We help them reclaim their life.
Here at Tim Hortons, we know what mornings are all about. Bacon. Wake up to 6 strips of crispy bacon on a toasted everything bagel. The new Bacon Everything Bagel Sandwich. Great quality at a great value. It's all good at Tim Hortons. Here at Tim Hortons, we know what mornings are all about. Bacon. Wake up to 6 strips of crispy bacon on a toasted everything bagel.
And we're back. Action resuming in the top half of the 7th inning. There are 2 outs, and Joshua Gregory will be the batter. Two men on for Gregory with 2 outs, and he takes a called strike. Gregory looking for his first base hit of the game, and he takes low for ball 1. That evens the count at 1. It appears time is running out on Baruch's season as the Lions have continued to add to their lead. Scored 2 in the 4th, 4 in the 5th, and now 1 in the 7th, threatening for more. It will be left to the bottom of the order to pick up those runners on base. Gregory at the plate and Austin Donahue, the 9th-place hitter, on deck. Looking ahead for the Bearcats in their half of the 7th, the bottom of the order is due up, 7, 8, and 9. And now Josh Gregory is ahead in the count, 3-1. No action in the Bearcats bullpen. I did promise some pitching numbers for Baruch College. I have those in front of me as Gregory draws the walks. While we have a moment, the team ERA for Baruch entering this game is at 6.16. So they've already exceeded that. They've allowed 11 base hits as well, and we're only in the 7th inning. Bases are now loaded for Austin Donahue. Donahue 0 for 3, reached on an error in the 5th, ultimately came around to score. He also struck out and flew out to center.
You said it, Joe. Baruch kind of needs to score some runs immediately, but that'll be tough with the way Teichmann's been throwing for Finlandia.
Even with how well Baruch swung the bats yesterday, it's tough to envision them breaking through for 7 against Brandon Teichmann, who's appeared untouchable to this point. Mentioned the 2-out walks, and only 1 base hit allowed as that's rolled over down the 3rd baseline, but foul. This inning got started with a tough luck single for Joey Krug. I guess tough luck if you're the Bearcats. I'm sure Krug happy to take it. He topped one down the 3rd baseline. The throw over to first was high. An on-target throw probably would have had Krug, but of course the throw was rushed due to the way the ball was hit. Krug then advanced to second on a wild pitch and was singled home by Devontae Fleming. As the 2-1 pitch is in for a called strike 2. That evens the count at 2. Top of the order, behind Austin Donahue, the man at the plate. Here's the 2-2 pitch, and that's fouled back. Leadoff hitter for the Lions, Brian Doyle, already has a pair of base hits in this game. As that's swung on and missed for strike 3, a big strikeout for Nicholas Valeriano, who limits the damage to 1 in the top of the 7th. But our score now 7-0 in favor of the Lions over the Bearcats of Baruch College. And time running out on the Bearcats this season. They need to get something going, and soon. They'll look to get on the scoreboard in the bottom of the 7th when we come back.
Hi, may I please have an application? Thank you.
Skip the drama. Get your diploma.
Okay.
Take that first step towards a better future. Find free adult education classes at finishyourdiploma.org.
As an American, it's hard to hear that we have a serious hunger issue in our country. And as a parent, it's even harder to hear that 1 in 5 of our kids struggles with hunger, especially when billions of pounds of good food are wasted every year. Feeding America is a nationwide network of food banks that helps provide billions of meals to families in need right in your community. Visit feedingamerica.org to support Feeding America and your local food bank. Together we can solve hunger. Together, we're Feeding America.
No one ever won a race because it was their turn. And guzzling the right sports drink never won all 3 sets. You can't talk your way through a tournament, and luck doesn't last. Real champions know that it takes more to do more, because wanting it just isn't good enough. You've got to be smarter, faster, tougher. After all, if championships were easy, everybody would have one. City University of New York Athletic Conference. Learn, play, succeed.
And we're back from the CSI Baseball Complex. Lions lead the Bearcats 7-0. And as I mentioned before we went to break, time is running out on Baruch's season. They trail by 7 runs in this game. Of course, Baruch's journey in the CUNYAC tournament got started with a big win over CCNY, and that seems like part of the distant past at this point, as the Bearcats fell to the Dolphins 11-2 in the second game last night, and now trail by 7 runs against Finlandia. First pitch to David Capion misses for ball 1.
And if they can't string a few runs across, at least they're going to at least look to get a couple of hits. And yeah, I'm sure they don't like looking up and seeing that one spot underneath the hits.
It's been a rough day at the plate for the Bearcats, to say the least. And they really haven't threatened much in this game as that's fouled back. And I think that goes without saying when you have only 1 base hit. And I think you'd be wise to move your car after this game, Bobby.
Yeah, I think I'm going to.
Not a bad idea, as we'll have some time in between this game and the next. Dolphins and Bloodhounds up next here on CSI Sportsnet, as the 1-2 pitch skips in the dirt for ball 2.
And Joe and I not going anywhere, for those of you who are tuned in.
For better or worse, regardless of the score or outcomes of these games, Bobby and I will be with you deep into the night, it appears. This game, now about 2 hours old, that's hit right back to Teichman, and the underhand toss over to first in time to retire Capion for the first out.
Teichman showing he's not only a pitcher there, showing his athletic abilities.
It's been a great day for Brandon Teichman. We've been singing his praises for the first 7 innings, and deservedly so, as he's allowed only 1 base hit. And I mentioned the team ERA of 8.5 for Finlandia. And of course, ERA, given the term earned run average, does not account for unearned runs, and typically we see some sloppy play in the field during many of these CUNYAC games. And not just CUNYAC games, of course. A lot of the games we cover, there are routine mistakes made in the field, and wins and losses many times comes down to execution in the field, as the home plate umpire took one off the wrist.
And of course, Teichman has been the story of today for Finlandia, but looking up at that scoreboard, 11 hits and 7 runs for that offense. So good job of them coming alive at the right time.
They've done all they needed to do in this game and more, as 1 run may have been enough, but they put together 7 on the 11 base hits. And Baruch has really not put up much of a fight in this game. Brandon Teichman still yet to face more than 4 batters in an inning, as that's fouled back.
That's some stat you got there. That's crazy.
Count 0-2.
That just shows how well he's pitching.
And the 0-2 just missed. I'll get a pitch count on Teichman as well. I believe the pitch count updates following the conclusion of an at-bat, so we'll wait until this at-bat comes to an end. That's popped up in the air, foul. We'll get a final score from softball in just a moment as well. Game 2 down there went final. They may have actually updated the live stats, so it may no longer be there. That's hit sharply over to first, but going down to a knee and making the play is Geyser for the second out.
And again, it's Teichman working quickly. 2 away here.
The Bearcats just aren't making good contact in this game. Haven't really hit the ball hard outside of that one shot to left field. That came, I believe, in the 4th inning, perhaps. This F7, I only see one F7, and that was the shot by St. Hilaire. I think that was the one that Daniel Logan snagged in left field on the run, and that was a big play at the time. And that was indeed the 4th inning because it was 2-0 when he made that play. And the pitch count entering this at bat for Brandon Teichman, 101. So he would have to throw, in all likelihood, somewhere between 120 and 130 pitches to get through 9 in this game. And that's a conservative estimate. That's about 10 or 15 pitches an inning, and that's actually pretty low. Here's the 2-0 to climb, and he takes a called strike.
And I think we get a sneak peek looking down there at head coach for the Dolphins, Mike Morrow, wearing those pink unis, as we've done in previous championship tournaments.
2-1 is swung on and missed for strike 2. Dolphins wore those uniforms last night as well. No reason to change what worked. It was
exactly
good night for the Dolphins last night. It's been a good several years for CSI in CUNYAC championship play. I'm sure the team happy to have played a role in sending Baruch home, should that be the outcome in this game. Of course, if Baruch is unable to complete a comeback, their season is over. Here's the 3-2 pitch. And that's swung on and missed for strike 3. Strikeouts have been few and far between for Brandon Teichman since the 3rd inning. That is number, I believe, 5. I'll double check that, but we are through 7 here at the CSI Baseball Complex, and that is strikeout number 6 for Teichman. On second look, our score through 7, Finlandia 7, and Baruch College nothing. Lions come to bat in the top of the 8th when we come back.
One-on-One is an independently owned and operated physical therapy center since 1999.
One-on-One has multiple offices located in Staten Island and in Brooklyn.
One-on-One has been getting people back to living pain-free for almost 14 years.
The number one goal of One-on-One is to provide quality health care for our community and continue to strive to be the best in our field.
One-on-One physical therapy gets our clients back to work, back to play, and back to function as soon as possible. We help them reclaim their life.
Don't worry, 74 people were picked before me in the NFL draft.
To fight childhood obesity, United Way and the NFL are helping kids play at least 60 minutes a day.
Okay, time for the team obstacle course. Yay!
What this place needs is more healthy kids. To get involved or donate, go to United.
Na 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 na, I love you so. I love you, I love you. La 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 la, la 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 la.
We're here.
Yay!
It's a short drive from your neighborhood to your naturehood. To find a neighborhood park or green space near you, visit discovertheforest.org.
This is why you took a second job. While you taught yourself how to fix the plumbing. While you'll do whatever it takes to keep your home. And that is why we want to help. We are making home affordable, a free government resource that can make paying the mortgage easier. Call 888-995-HOPE today.
And And we're back from the CSI Baseball Complex. 8th inning about to get started. Our score 7-0 in favor of the Lions. This game approaching 2 hours old, so it's had a pretty good pace to it as we have a new pitcher for Baruch. And it will be number 41, and I apologize if I mispronounced this last name. I believe it's pronounced Robert Rahman, but could be wrong about that. Maybe Raymond. We'll see how the public address announcer pronounces Robert's last name as he enters the game. I'll have his numbers in just a moment. Brian Doyle will be the first man to bat for Finlandia in the 8th inning. And he takes a called strike one.
Doyle having a pretty good day here for the Lions as he's 2 for 3.
Been on base 3 times. On top of the 2 base hits, he drew a walk to lead off the game. And he fouls back the 0-1 pitch. Oh, I heard another ooh as that ball traveled into the parking lot. Certainly not a place where I would park my car if I had one. I've seen too many foul balls travel in that direction from this spot in the press box. Count 1 ball and 2 strikes on Doyle. And that is lined right back up the middle as Rahman barely got out of the way.
And luckily enough, he did duck out of the way as that ball was scorched back up the middle.
Very fortunate to avoid being struck by that one. And if he's a bit taller, it probably hits him. He's able to get down low underneath that.
And that's a beautiful piece of hitting, just going right back up the middle.
That will bring up Nick Geyser. Geyser in this game also has a pair of base hits. Laid down a successful sacrifice bunt back in the 1st inning as well. Officially 2 for 3. Here he's ahead in the count 2-0. Doyle keeping close over at first base. Not a big lead, though that lead is growing. And Geyser takes outside for ball 3, so Geyser ahead in the count 3-0. Here's the 3-0 pitch, and that's in for a called strike one. Well, Robert Rahman has not allowed an earned run this season. He's appeared in 6 games, thrown 9 innings, allowed 4 hits and 4 unearned runs. He's walked 3 and struck out 6 as that's a quick double play, lined right into the glove of Roque over at first base, and he taps his glove on the first base bag. And that will double off Doyle for the 2nd out.
And 2 away just like that. And that'll bring up the dangerous Joey Krug.
Krug in this game has a pair of base hits, has drawn a walk. Officially 2 for 3. Krug ahead in the count 1-0. And he takes ball 2. Here comes the 2-0. That skips in the dirt for ball 3, and looks like Rahman wants no part of Krug. Can't say I blame him. 2 outs and the base is empty.
Through 3-0 swinging.
Krug has taken some huge swings in this game, and why not? Leading by 7 runs with the bases empty. Can't blame him for that swing.
No, certainly can't.
3-1 the count now. And there's a big swing by Krug. Hits it well out to left field, but they were playing him deep and ranging to his right. to make the play is Liam O'Gara for the third out. Krug just missed that one, but his team still leads by 7. Our score heading into the bottom of the 8th. Finlandia 7, Baruch nothing. Bearcats with 6 outs left in their season if they fail to complete this comeback, and time is running out. We'll be back with more CUNYAC Championship Baseball after this break.
Oh, listen now, can you hear the bluebirds? Oh, look up now, can you feel the sun?
Look at you. You're at the top of your game. You're unstoppable. Nothing can throw you off track. Wait, is that your car? Uh-oh. Yeah, I saw that coming. That will throw you off track. You're looking at around 10 grand in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates. Let's try this again. Smart move. Because buzz driving is drunk driving.
Back from the CSI Baseball Complex, bottom of the 8th, about to get started. Top of the order, due up for the Bearcats, Hunt, McGroarty, and Ramirez. Baruch with 6 outs left in their season. Should they fail to at least prolong this game or take a lead. And returning to the mound is Brandon Teichman. Teichman maybe in the midst of the best start we've seen from a pitcher this season. Not sure we've seen anyone take a shutout into the 8th this year.
Certainly up there.
I'd have to double check that in some of the games we've covered, but I don't think we've seen that yet, as Hunt hits one to straightaway center field, and Josh Gregory is there to make the catch for the first out.
The second baseman, number 2, Michael McGroarty.
That will bring up Michael McGroarty. McGroarty officially 0 for 2, has drawn a walk in this game. And McGroarty takes a called strike 1. The 1-0 just misses. That runs the count to 2-0. Here's the 2-0 pitch, and that misses for ball 3. Two and 1. The count on McGroarty. That misses up and in. Well, the scoreboard, I believe, read 3-0 initially and then reverted back to 2-1. So the count now 3-1. And the 3-1 pitch forces McGroarty to move out of the way, and he will take first base as he draws his second walk of the game.
So luckily enough for Finlandia, which I don't think will be the case, if fatigue does drive Teichman out of this game, they do have a 7-0 lead. Although the way he's pitching here, I think he'll be just fine.
Well, we have a pinch hitter. It'll be Jacob Auerbach. And he takes a called strike. We saw Auerbach get in the game last night, I believe actually into both games late, with those 2 outcomes decided already, as that misses outside, evening the count at 1. Here's the 1-1 pitch. That misses outside for ball 2. Here's the 2-1 pitch, and that misses inside for ball 3. And you said it, Bobby, fatigue could be playing a role at this point. Teichman now having trouble finding the strike zone, and certainly don't want to put men on via the base on balls and give Baruch any hope late in this game. But Teichman has issued back-to-back walks as Auerbach jogs down to first base. Bearcats now have 2 men on and 1 out.
Yeah, and you can tell he's getting a little bit tired as he's not exactly finishing as he was in the previous innings, kind of short-arming a little bit.
There'll be a conference at the mound for Finlandia. I don't see anyone warming up in the bullpen, so no pitching change. But Teichman just lost a hitter at the plate who hasn't even had a plate appearance in this game, and Auerbach comes in hitting at 160 on the season in 25 plate appearances, so certainly not a player that you want to walk. And I think we may have another pinch hitter here. It will be Connor McCabe.
Your attention, please. Pinch hitting for Baruch, number 17, Connor McCabe.
And McCabe takes inside for ball 1. McCabe, another player who got into last night's game late. He's ahead in the count 2-0, and I think it's about that time where the Lions might want to get someone up in the bullpen.
Yeah, it's starting to get a little bit interesting here.
The Bearcats will do it as well as Ryan Warner sprints out to the Bearcats bullpen. Still 5 outs to play with for Baruch as McCabe showed bunt and then pulls back. He's ahead in the count 3-0.
He'll probably be taking 2 here.
I think that's a safe bet. Here comes the 3-0 pitch. And McCabe ditched his bat, and we'll have to come back to the box. That's in for a called strike.
You can't ditch your bat if it's right down the middle. Anything else, maybe.
I was thinking the same thing.
But if it's right down the middle, that's not what you want to do.
It's easier to see from the center field camera, but I didn't get a look at it as that indeed is ball 4. And this time McCabe can leave his bat just outside of the batter's box. And bases are loaded with Bearcats for one of the most dangerous hitters on this team. Liam O'Gara will be the batter. O'Gara officially 0 for 2, but comes in with the second highest batting average on this team. On the season, he has 7 extra base hits, including 5 doubles and 2 triples. And O'Gara takes low for ball 1.
Yeah, fatigue certainly is a factor right now.
And no urgency for the Lions getting a new pitcher warm. The bullpen still no action as finally someone begins tossing down there. And I'm not even sure that's one of the pitchers. That might be the bullpen catcher throwing, as it looks like a number 34 has come out of the dugout. And that's grounded foul, so a 2-strike count.
Yeah, Teichman looking for a big double play here, or via the strikeout he will take. So we'll see what he comes here with the count 1 and 2.
He's working with a 7-run lead, so still a long ways away from that tying run coming to bat, but if you're Teichman, of course you want to prevent that from happening as the 1-2 pitch is in and it's ground foul. Grounded foul, I should say. Count remains 1 ball and 2 strikes. Here's the 1-2. That's upstairs for ball 3. And I should note, 2 pinch hitters in this inning, pinch hitting for 2 of the biggest bats in this Baruch order. J.P. Ramirez, who still has the only hit, and Gerardo Roque is That's fouled back, and O'Gara stays alive.
And both reaching.
If there's one thing we picked up yesterday, O'Gara put together some of the best at-bats we've seen from this Baruch team. Was able to consistently run the count full. Didn't always win those battles. I believe he went down on strikes twice. And that was in the second game against the Dolphins, but he put together some very good plate appearances, forced Christian Capion to work in that game. Here comes another 2-2 pitch. And that's fouled towards us, and that one was over the window in front of me by about 2 or 3 feet.
Right towards us.
That's as close as a foul ball will come to striking the window in front of us. Count remains even at 2. And that's popped up on the infield. And making the play is Geyser for the second out. A huge second out for Finlandia.
Yeah, it certainly is. I know the score is 7-0. But if he reaches, it could be even more trouble for Teichmann. So that is a very big out.
Well, a base hit there very well could have made it a 7-2 game with 2 men on base, and then things are interesting. Edwin St. Hilaire, the batter, I've said it many times over the last 2 days, he leads this team in RBIs. I believe yesterday he was batting 7th in the order. He moves up to 6 in this game. Here's the 0-1, and that nearly hit St. Hilaire as he backs out of the way. That evens the count at 1 ball and 1 strike.
And still only 1 hit given up by Teichmann.
Here comes the 1-1. And that's it out toward right center field. Could be trouble. And that one is over the head of Donahue. He's able to retrieve the ball, and 3 runs come in to score as Edwin St. Hilaire delivers with a 3 RBI double. And all of a sudden, Baruch is back in this game. Our score, 7-3.
And just like that, Baruch making a little bit of noise. Who knows, could be a little too late. But regardless, 7-3 the score now.
That will bring up David Capion. Capion looking for his first hit, yet to reach base in this game. Well, Baruch is certainly in striking distance now, as that's in for a called strike 1. Well, there is someone throwing in the bullpen for Finlandia wearing a blue jacket, so obviously can't see a number underneath that warm-up jacket, as the 0-1 is swung on and missed by Capion for strike 2. Capion in a 2-strike hole. And he just got a piece, fouled it off the shin. Maybe even the shin guard. Oh, looks like the unguarded leg. Capion clearly in discomfort, yet to return to the batter's box. And he will limp back on over. He remains behind in the count, 0-2. And he chases out of the zone for strike 3, and Loya has to make a throw over to first as that one got away from him, but the Bearcats break up the shutout of Brandon Teichmann, but he escapes, allowing 3 runs in the inning. Doesn't appear too dissatisfied with that, as you saw a nice, I should say, a nice greeting from his teammates. He gave a shrug as he came off the field, but through 8 innings of play, our score now 7-3 in favor of the Lions, and Finlandia comes to bat in the top of the 9th when we return on CS.
Hi, may I please have an application? Thank you.
Skip the drama. Get your diploma. Take that first step towards a better future. Find free adult education classes at finishyourdiploma.org.
As an American, it's hard to hear that we have a serious hunger issue in our country. And as a parent, it's even harder to hear that 1 in 5 of our kids struggles with hunger, especially when billions of pounds of good food are wasted every year. Feeding America is a nationwide network of food banks that helps provide billions of meals to families in need right in your community. Visit feedingamerica.org to support Feeding America and your local food bank. Together we can solve hunger. Together, we're Feeding America.
Thank you. You got a king?
Go fish.
The smallest moments can have the biggest impact on a child's life. Take time to be a dad today.
There's one thing you can never have sex without.
It's not something you buy.
Or something you take.
In fact, there's only one way to get it.
It has to be given to you, freely.
It's consent.
Because sex without it isn't sex.
It's rape. Consent.
If you don't get it, you don't get it. It's on us to stop sexual assault.
Learn how and take the pledge at itsonus.org.
Leading off for Finlandia, the third baseman.
Ninth inning from the CSI Baseball Complex. Our score now 7-3. Baruch finally gets on the scoreboard in the bottom of the 8th inning, and ironically, it's in the inning with a pinch hit for 2 of their biggest bats, J.P. Ramirez, who was the designated hitter, and Gerardo Roque, the 3 and 4 hitters in their batting order. So those 2 players are now done. New pitcher as well for Baruch. As I mentioned in the previous half inning, Ryan Warner was sprinting down to the bullpen to get ready, and it appears as if he was only going to come in if Baruch was able to put some runs up on the scoreboard, and they did just that. As Baruch loaded the bases, and Warner quickly made his way from the dugout out to the left field bullpen. And the 2-0 pitch misses up and in to Devontae Fleming. Fleming, Pimentel, and Loya due up in the 9th inning for the Lions. And drawing the leadoff walk is Devontae Fleming. Finlandia has a leadoff base runner.
The shortstop, number 3, Gene Pimentel.
That's it on the ground over to first. McCabe's throw low at second, but scooped out nicely by Capion. That's a fielder's choice on the scorecard for Gene Pimentel.
That's a tough hop there for Capion. So doing a nice job of staying with that ball.
Catcher, number 5, Ben Loya.
That will bring up Ben Loya. Loya officially 1 for 4 in this game. Drove in a run with a double back in the 4th. That was the first run of the game scored by the Lions. And he fouls the first pitch here straight back. And the 0-1 misses up and away, evening the count at 1. Here's the 1-1 pitch, and that's swung on and missed. Loya now behind in the count 1-2. That's lofted into center field for a base hit. And looking to go first to third is Pimentel. And faking the throw to third was Elvis Klein. Wisely holding it first is Ben Loya, who picks up the 1-out single.
So Finlandia, the bats continue for them as they have runners on the corners.
Number 20, Daniel Logan.
That will bring up the left fielder, Daniel Logan. Logan already has a pair of base hits in this game in 4 plate appearances, reached on an error in the 7th as well. That's it out to left field. O'Gara underneath it. Tagging at third is Pimentel, and he will come in to score the 8th Lions run. So Finlandia adds some insurance in the top half of the 9th. Our score now 8-3.
That's a big run for Finlandia, especially after Baruch making a little bit of noise last half inning.
And that has to be demoralizing for the Bearcats dugout. They pulled themselves to within striking distance, made this more of a game, trailing by only 4 entering the 9th inning, but now facing a 5-run deficit with, I believe, the number 8 hitter due to lead off in the 9th. Things looking bleak for the Bearcats as that's skied foul and out of play. Josh Gregory, the batter, still looking for his first base hit in this game. Drew a walk in his last at-bat back in the 7th. And the 0-1 in the dirt, blocked by Donovan Hunt. And the 1-1 rolled over on the ground to short. And Capion goes the short way to second for the final out, but not before Finlandia adds a single insurance run in the inning. They now lead by 5 entering the bottom of the 9th. A last chance for the Baruch College Bearcats to keep their season alive when we return here on CSI Sportsnet.
You make me wear my bike helmet.
Taught me never to run with scissors.
You tell me to stay away from drugs. To always buckle my seatbelt.
And to follow the swimming rules.
You're always looking out for me and trying to keep me safe.
So why do you keep a loaded gun in your drawer? Here in the garage.
Closet.
Shoebox under the bed.
Where anyone can get to it. How safe is that?
How safe is that?
How safe is that?
You asked them to follow some safety rules. Now they're asking you. In fact, they're counting on you. Never let your gun get into the wrong hands. If you own a firearm and are not using it, please be responsible and be sure that it's stored in a safe place. Remember, always lock it up. For more information on firearm storage safety, visit NCPC.
No one ever won a race because it was their turn. And guzzling the right sports drink never won all 3 sets. You can't talk your way through a tournament, and luck doesn't last. Real champions know that it takes more to do more, because wanting it just isn't good enough. You've got to be smarter, faster, tougher. After all, if championships were easy, everybody would have one. City University of New York Athletic Conference. Learn, play, succeed. No one ever won a race because it was their turn. And guzzling the right sports drink.
Well, we're getting some music requests, as I think there may have been some profanity in the music, perhaps. And unfortunately, that's not the first time today that's happened. I caught it earlier during the pregame, and it is a clean playlist they're going from. I'm not sure how this has happened twice, but either way, we get a change of music selection as we enter the bottom half of the 9th inning. Our score 8-3. Lions over the Bearcats. Last chance for Baruch College to keep their season alive, as the Bearcats did put up a 3 spot in the bottom of the 8th. That not nearly enough to get them back even as we enter the bottom of the 9th, with Baruch trailing now by 5 runs after Finlandia added 1 in the top half. And returning to the mound is Brandon Teichman. That's a bit surprising.
Yeah, it's a little bit surprising. It looked like he was really winding down that last inning, although he has been absolutely incredible here today.
We can't necessarily explain why, but for one reason or another, our smaller scoreboard isn't reflecting the correct score. Only the larger scoreboard. That's an issue we haven't encountered before. Count quickly 0-2. Jorge Keith Mercado, the batter, leading off for the Bearcats in the 9th, and he takes a called strike 3 on the outside corner. Mercado goes down looking for the first out.
So Finlandia 2 outs away here from, I think, what we could call would be an upset.
Well, that's certainly fair. Not only was Baruch projected as the team that would win the CUNY championship this year, but they were also seeded higher than Finlandia in this tournament. I believe Finlandia was the 2nd seed from the bottom in the CUNYAC conference this year. I'll have to check those standings in the program, but I'm pretty sure that was the case. As we did have a pinch hitter. It was Nicholas Alto Piedi, and he grounds out to short for out number 2, and then the throw over to short around the infield gets away and rolls into left field. One of very few miscues in this game for the Lions. They did commit a pair of errors, but I don't believe either of them was too egregious. The first was a drop pop-up, if I recall correctly. That one was pretty bad, but
and they've certainly been the better team here today.
They played a good game for sure, and one out away from a well-deserved victory in this one is the first pitch from Teichman to Donovan Hunt is in for a called strike 1. And that misses outside, evening the count at 1. Hunt has drawn a pair of walks in this game, but officially 0 for 2. That's flied out to right field. This could do it. As the Lions prepare to run out onto the field, they secure the 8-3 victory over the Bearcats of Baruch College. Bearcats season is over. It comes to an end here at the College of Staten Island after the Bearcats defeated CCNY last night, scoring 19 runs on 18 hits. They fall to the Dolphins later that same evening and then drop yet another game here today to the Lions of Finlandia University. And with this Lions victory, Baruch's season is over. Our final score, 8-3.
And of course, if you're Baruch College, it's extremely disappointing and a little bit frustrating today, but you got to tip your cap to the Finlandia Lions as they played amazing. The Bats woke up with 13 hits on the scoreboard, and of course, Teichman was unbelievable.
When it comes to just about any sport, or really any competitive event of any kind, I always like to use the eye test to judge a team, and unfortunately, we didn't have that luxury when it came to Finlandia entering this game. We looked at the numbers and really questioned how this team could manufacture runs and could they get enough pitching to slow down an offense that scored 19 runs in a game last night. But they did both of those things, scored 8 runs in this game on 12 base hits and got a very well-pitched game from Brandon Teichman. The final line on Teichman in this game for the Lions, he of course went the distance, 9 innings pitched, allowed 3 runs, all of which were earned on only 2 base hits. However, he did issue 7 walks. 3 of those came back-to-back in the 8th inning, and in that inning he surrendered those 3 earned runs. He also struck out 8 batters through 148 pitches in this game, so I think it's safe to say we won't be seeing Teichman again in this tournament. As Bobby, you have a look of disbelief on your face.
148?
That is the official pitch count, 148 for Teichman.
Wow, that is a lot of pitches, and you got to give all the credit you can to him because he was outstanding, and I'm sure he'll be feeling it a little bit tomorrow after throwing 148 pitches.
I've certainly never seen a pitch count that high in any of the games we've covered. Last night, I believe Christian Capion threw 125, so that's about as high as I've seen, and that may be a bit off. It may have been give or take a few pitches, but somewhere in that general area. That's still a lot of pitches, 125. But
yeah, exactly. That's why when you said that number, it caught me off guard. I did not know it was that high.
148 is another level, and I remember back in the 7th inning, I was saying he was at about 75 pitches, or maybe even more than that. I don't recall exactly where it was, but I had a pitch count in the later innings and then said, 10 or 15 an inning would get him to about 110. So he certainly labored through the last couple of innings, but was able to get through the 8th, allowing the 3 runs, and then in the 9th had a 1-2-3 inning and set down the Bearcats in order, securing the victory for his team. So our final score in this game, once again, the Lions of Finlandia University 8, the Bearcats of Baruch College 3. The final line for the Lions, 8 runs on 13 hits and 2 errors for the Bearcats, 3 runs on only 2 base hits, 3 errors in the field. I gave you the final pitching line for Brandon Teichman for Baruch in this game. Starting pitcher Daniel Malik went 4 1/3, allowed 6 runs, 5 of which were earned on 7 base hits. He walked 2 and struck out 3, throwing 76 pitches. It was Nicholas Valeriano who came on in relief, throwing 2 2/3, allowing one run. It was earned on 4 base hits. He walked one, struck out a pair through 49 pitches. In relief of Valeriano, it was Robert Ramon who came on through 1 inning, allowing a base hit. Did not allow a run. He faced only 3 batters, the minimum in that 1 inning. He threw 14 pitches. Then Ryan Warner came on to pitch the final inning of the game for the Bearcats, allowing a run. It was earned on a base hit. He threw 13 pitches and faced 5 batters. Standouts at the plate for Baruch in this game, and not much to say there. J.P. Ramirez, who was pinch hit for late in this game, had 1 of the 2 hits. Edwin St. Hilaire, an RBI double. That drove in all 3 Bearcat runs. He had the second hit for Baruch College, and that was all for the Bearcats at the plate. For Finlandia in this game, multiple hit games for many players up and down this batting order. Brian Doyle with 3 hits, Nick Geiser with a pair of hits, Joey Krug with a pair of hits, Ben Loya with a pair of base hits as well, and Daniel Logan also had 2 hits in this game. So several players in this lineup going for multiple hits in this game. And Bobby, that's as surprising to you as it is to me, I think, as we went through the numbers during the pregame. And we didn't expect this to be a game where Finlandia would put up 8 runs and 13 hits against the Bearcats team that, of course, many believed was favored in this game.
Yeah, we certainly didn't. And if you would have told me before the game, if one team had 13 hits and the other had 2, we'd probably think it'd be the other way around. And that's why you got to give all the credit you can to Finlandia, because they came out and they were certainly ready to play here today.
Well, Finlandia certainly deserves a lot of credit for their victory in this game. And I believe they go on to play the loser of the Dolphins-John Jay game later tonight. So this will not be the last time we see the Lions today. The Dolphins hoping to play only 1 game today. They are coming up next here on CSI Sportsnet. They will be taking on the Bloodhounds of John Jay College. The loser of that game will play Finlandia. So Dolphins and Bloodhounds coming up next here on CSI Sportsnet. Stay with us for that. This has been Joe Foreman, and for Bobby Drake and all of us here at the College of Staten Island, thank you for listening. Be sure to stay with us here on CSI Sportsnet for Dolphins and Bloodhounds coming up next.